Big news. I have some important news for you.
Interesting news.
It's Blake and Aaron's Spilling the Tea with Sandy.
K-Man's top news headlines of the day from CMR.
Happy Monday, Sandy. How are you?
Hey, Blake and Aaron. Happy Monday. How are you guys doing?
Good.
How was you?
What do you got for us?
Awesome.
Good.
So that missing boater from last week has been found yesterday.
All right.
Early afternoon, we received the news that he was actually found in Belize.
Okay.
So the mystery does thicken quite a bit around the entire purpose of his trip. So we are going to delve into that a little bit this morning because his appearance alongside, or his disappearance alongside the alleged disappearance of Cubans from the Cayman Islands is quite interesting in terms of timing. So yesterday afternoon, there was also a very serious accident in the district of Bodden Town. A dump truck ran into a light pole.
Yeah, I saw that.
Crazy.
These dump trucks have accidents all the time.
Yeah. Well, they drive.
Yeah. Well, this one took up power for over 1,100 customers.
Jeez.
What?
Yes, over 1,100 customers were without power because of that accident.
That's ridiculous.
Doctors Express is asking for a judicial review against the Cayman Islands government because of their decision not to criminally prosecute the former chief medical officer, Dr. Lee.
Okay.
So remember, this is about that raid situation where he raided their vapes and products. They think that he should be criminally charged. And so the decision has been made not to charge him. And apparently Doctors Hospital, my apologies, is not happy about that decision. So they're challenging it in a court of law. Doctors Express, my apologies.
Yeah.
They should have picked a different name. They're so close. But yes, Doctors Express. So yeah, we'll see the outcome of that. That's a very interesting legal theory. If
that is an interesting legal thing.
Yeah, because I mean, everybody would then be challenging the DPP's office, I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely.
What
are they going to say? What is it? Okay, you know what? You're right. We'll go ahead and charge him. Like it's already they made the decision based on facts and what they could do to prosecute. Sometimes they can't.
Yeah, we'll see though. It is interesting. I'll be watching that one for sure.
All right.
So the Public Health Department has announced that effective March the 1st, confirmation PCR testing for positive COVID cases will no longer be required, and COVID testing centers will cease operations on all 3 islands. So LFT positive online reporting will also no longer be required.
Okay.
All right.
So continuing to wind down in the COVID front.
That's good.
Yep.
Yeah.
So those are some of your news headlines this beautiful Monday morning.
All right. We'll catch Sandy coming up on Bobo 89.1 FM in 30 seconds. We'll see you tomorrow on the Tuesday show for the headlines. All right.
Sounds great. Have a good one.
Bye.
And what's that coming?
Good morning, everybody. How are you guys doing this morning? Toot toot. Happy Monday. We're going to be getting it here in just a second. Hope you guys had a fabulous weekend. I'm going to tell you all about mine after we kick off this morning's show. Beautiful, beautiful Monday morning. Here we go, folks. Put your seatbelts on. It's Monday Rewind coming right up.
Bigger, better, bolder. The cold, hard truth is taking talk to the next level. Right here on Bobo 89.1 FM, Cayman's Community Radio.
We are still spilling the tea.
And committed to being part of the change that Cayman so desperately needs. Join Sandy Hill weekdays from 7:30 a.m. for Premier Access, Cayman Voices, Truthful Thursdays, and much more. Cayman's #1 talk show is now bigger, better, bolder, and more than talk. Getting results with hot topics, consumer reports, court exposés, and more.
I've come to set the record straight. I've come to shine the light on you. Let me introduce myself. I am the cold, hard truth.
Now, from the CMR studio in Grand Cayman,
Live, direct.
It's the cold, hard truth. Now, join the conversation on 345-936-2626.
That number again is
345-936-2626.
All right. Good morning. Good morning. My apologies, beautiful people. Oh my gosh. Got a bit of a frog in my throat there. I hope you guys are having a fabulous start to your week. I know a lot of you probably are not happy because you're back in traffic, honey chill. What can I say? OMG. Pretty crazy. And yeah, it's back to school for the kids. So the most interesting thing about the whole traffic situation. Oh, we got a caller so early in the morning. Oh gosh. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the Cold Hard Truth. You're live and on air. Hello? Uh-oh. I guess they didn't realize that we're on air from 7:30. Bright and early, honey child. Yes. 7:30 a.m. We gotta get it. We can't be late around here. Getting lots of messages about something else that we'll be discussing here this morning. But yes, my dear lovelies, we are live and direct. Let me just see here. Okay, so you guys are like little detectives around here, I must tell you. You're part of the detective crew. All right, so I was just saying that I'm sure a lot of you parents were happy last week to not have to deal with the morning traffic. Now, I have to tell you the truth. The evening traffic seemed to me like it was, oh, I understand, coming in robotic. Hold on. Let me send that to Chucky. Good morning, Chuck. I'm like a robot this morning, and not on purpose, because I do have a robot button, but I'm not purposely doing that. Okay, I'll have Chuck sort that out. Normally that's something on his end. Oh gosh, everybody's saying, yep, you're coming in kind of crazy this morning. Toot toot. All right, let's give him a minute to fix that. Yes, so basically, morning traffic last week was much better than usual, is what I'm made to understand. However, the odd thing about it is the evening traffic was still horrendous. Now, why do you think that is? Is it because in the morning, were you guys leaving out at different times? Can somebody explain this to me? Because it is a little bit weird. Were you staggering your time in the morning, but then in the evening, everybody's leaving right at 5 o'clock, and that accounted for the exodus of traffic that did not really change? Not really sure. But apparently it was no different in the evening time at all. I don't know what we're going to do about this traffic situation, but we have to do something with it pronto. Now, here's the thing. I'm actually in favor of potentially, and we'll have a deep dive conversation into this one day, but I'm actually in favor of restricting who can own a car. Sorry, but if you're here in a work permit and your job doesn't require you to drive, then, you might have to, not have a car. There are some jobs, though, even domestic jobs, that require people, like, they're responsible for doing stuff for the household. They're responsible for driving and, all sorts of things. So it's going to be, even that, I think, is going to be a challenge, because everyone's going to try to get really fancy with their arguments as to why they need a car. But let's be honest. If you go to a singular location and you stay put at that location, right? So you go and you work 9 to 5 and you really don't move. You might take a lunch break. Then I feel like you can flex without a car. There are those of us, myself included, who I'm not necessarily stationary at any one place. I was speaking to Wendy Ledger last week about this, because her and I had a little catch-up lunch on Thursday. And she was saying, there was some days that she would be able to take a bus, because she's like, okay, no For example, that day I'm going to just come to court. I'm going to sit down. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not moving, whatever. That's perfectly fine. But then there are other times when, honestly, if you're going to be up and down, you go to court, then you go somewhere else, you can't really, I don't know if the bus system will ever be that good where you can be like, okay, I got 10 errands to run today and I can rely on the bus to do that. And I've got my groceries and I've got, things that I'm picking up. And so, yeah, I'm not too sure about that. So, yeah, I'm thinking there's some restrictions that could be put in place. But then here's the thing. The traffic is already horrible, right? So even if you put restrictions in place, there's going to be forward moving restrictions. What do you do about all the cars that are already here? You can't be like, oh, you can no longer drive your car that's here and we're going to put the cars where? At the dump? So we got to think logically about how we roll out any of these things. And quite honestly, as well, we also need to ensure that we look at the logistics of how people will be able to get around properly. Because you can't expect me to give up a car, even for one day a week, if the alternative is a bus system that just doesn't ever get me anywhere in time and simply doesn't work. And there's no regular intervals. I was watching something yesterday on one of these TV channels about New York and even the subway system. And, every 55 seconds, a train is coming. They've got buses. I mean, they have it down to a bit of a science. And every single train leaves 1 minute late just because, that's just a system that they have it on. So, I don't know. Charlotte says some cars have four cars, my apologies, per household. But obviously, again, it depends on how many people are in that household and what their schedules are like. There are times when you can carpool, and there are times when, hello, you just need your own ride. Good morning to Miss Vernita. Aliano's here. Are we any better on the radio? Not so sure if Chuck is hearing me, but all right. So we've got Miss Cindy in the house. She says, good morning, Keyman. Olivia's here. Good morning to Stephen, Diamond Princess, Felicia. Oui. Alba says, buenos días. ¿Cómo estás? Estoy bien. Muy gracias. Look at Damaris joining us from the big NYC. New York in the house. New York City. I got to go back to New York soon. We went in January. It was cold. We saw one day of snow flurries. Like, I wanted to see proper snow, I must admit. But we did a lot of walking in the city. Like, I was like a little walking champion. I was walking here, there, and everywhere. And I must tell you, even the cold wasn't bothering me. I was like in that Frozen movie. The cold doesn't bother me anyway. Walking here, there, and everywhere. And it was good to put on your boots and get to walking, honey chill. We were in Times Square. Lots of things to see and do in that area. And actually some shopping to be done as well. When you're good at shopping, you can find you some shopping. Good morning to Marshall. Alejandra's here. Barbara is here. Miss Charlene, good morning to you. All children should be required to ride a bus to school, says Aliano. How would that work with the private schools, though? Someone said to me, it would be one bus dropping off at different private schools. What time would that bus be picking children up? Let me tell y'all something about school buses, honey chill. Because I remember when I lived in the States, I had to take a school bus. In fact, it depended on which school I went to, but elementary school, I was taking a school bus at the age of 9. That was elementary school, but obviously elementary school starts younger than that. But I was there at 9, and this school was an hour away. So I still had to get up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning to be ready to sit at the bus stop. And the cold, I mean, we don't have that consideration here, but when it's hot, your children can be complaining that they're out in the hot sun. We had to be out there in the cold. The great thing about my bus at that age is that the bus was literally right across my house. Like, I walked out the side door on the side of our house, and the bus stop was right there. So I didn't have far to walk. Some places kids have to walk to the top of the roads and stuff. Am I going to let a 6-year-old, I'm just thinking about my daughter now, walk to the top of my road to catch a bus to then take her to her private school. Honestly, no, I'm not going to do that. So then I'm going to have to find somebody to walk her to the bus stop and wait with her. Y'all kind of testing my patience as a mother now. I got to be honest with you. I don't know. When I hear these horror stories about what happens on these buses, who's going to be ensuring the safety of my child on this bus? Ugh. The one good point, though, that when I was talking to Wendy about it, that she pointed out, is that the school kids would be able to mingle a little bit. So you'd have all the different, because her vision was private and public school on the same bus. I'm thinking, I don't know though, because I think most public school buses are pretty full. So I don't know, like you add a bunch of buses to the routes and then you have these super big buses. Are these going to be electric buses? How are they? Because they're bigger, they're putting out more emissions. Like, how is that really any better for the environment, as well as who's going to ensure the safety of children on those buses? Do these buses even have seatbelts now? I don't know, honey child. I'm like, listen, I'm just feeling a bit like I'm not sure. Maybe by middle or high school, you feel like a little bit better about kids jumping on a bus, but I don't know. I'm not really sold on the whole school bus thing yet, I must tell you. Or then is the solution that the schools actually provide their own school buses. And that's, honey child, listen, these private schools, you got to pay for everything. So I'm like, okay, now I'm going to have to pay their gas money and the trip to, there's a lot of complexities that I think at some point we need to really, like I said, dig deep and discuss all of it, because we got to figure out how would the plan work. Okay, private schools get some sort of subsidy from government. Is that what you want the subsidy to go towards? Everton says carpooling would be good. And I'm for all of these solutions if they work for you, but I think in a lot of instances they don't really work for you. Listen, if like when we were going to the agriculture show the other day, I could have gone separately because I was kind of working and I should have gotten there much earlier. And I said to my husband, "Yeah, I'll wait until you're ready and we'll all go together and take one car." Well, thank God. Because that Savannah red dust, oh my God, that had everything so dusty. Whew, what a hot mess. Morning, caller. Happy Monday.
Buenos dias.
Buenos dias. What's cousin in Spanish again? I can't remember.
I have no idea.
No, man, I should know this. It's primo. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we should know that.
Word.
Hello, primo.
Kenneth Bryan came on the
I think I
radio
scared Kenneth away,
a
you know.
while back.
I don't know if he's ever going to come back again.
Well, if what I'm hearing is correct, they might all be gone.
Oh, Jesus.
We'll leave that one alone for today. Well, he came onto your show and he told us what he's going to do. And I objected immediately. I'm not sure if you remember.
Refresh your memories, because I don't.
He said, well, step one is to get the electric buses, and step two is to look at how they will tax private transportation to encourage people to take the buses. And in the same playbook that they did with the vaccine, psychological and financial pressure on people to get them to do what the government wants. That's the playbook. Well, it didn't work for me with the vaccine, and I'm not sure if it's going to work with the transportation. As a matter of fact, people who try to play those types of games with the public, I think, should be fired.
Okay.
But that's just to put it mildly, okay?
Okay.
but you see, you remember you talking about like school starting later and all that type of stuff recently.
Yes, I mean there's good evidence for why they should start later, just for your kids. But anyhow, go on.
Yes, but there's another way of looking at it too. If the school isn't going to start later, then the argument is that, okay, you let your children sleep later and you take them to school yourself, okay? Which is what I do. because there's very good reason why that it is said that schools should open later, but it's mainly about children getting sufficient sleep, right? Does your children go to sleep on time at night? Do they go to sleep at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and then wake up at 6? Or what time do they go to? How much hours do they get?
Well, I'm trying to get mine to sleep by 7:30, but that never seems to work.
Well, that's a good time.
Mm-hmm.
That is a good time. But the thing is that if kids don't get sufficient sleep, they're going to have difficulties learning and remembering what they've learned. And that's the primary reason for all of those discussions. It's relevant when it comes to busing, but that's a symptom. These are symptoms we're talking about. Okay. The disease is that when someone wants to do a subdivision, and which will mean adding to the traffic, they are not properly considering sufficient infrastructure to accommodate that development. And that's the mistake that has been made for a long time. And I still hear people saying today, oh, we don't need more roads. Really? If we had more roads right now, all we would be doing is putting in place what we should have done 50 years ago. Okay? It doesn't really put us ahead of the game. It's just playing catch up.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're focusing on symptoms. We need to focus on what's causing these symptoms, and that is poor planning of the development.
Mm-hmm. Or no planning at all.
Yeah, or no planning.
We just haven't had it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my spiel for the day.
All right. Thanks, Denny. Appreciate it.
All right. Bye.
All righty. So, yeah, I mean, I think these are some very, very valid points. By the way, let me go ahead and do a shout out to our sponsor for today. Big shout out to Burger King. We appreciate you sponsoring every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday segments. You guys know that they're on board. They have this hot, spicy, crispy chicken. I'm not so sure my stomach can handle that, honey. Chill. Ugh, that sounds a little bit too hot for me. But I when we posted it, I saw some people saying, "Oh, that's so good," and I'm like, "Really? You guys like it hot like that?" Woo! Sandra says they need to put a cap on the 35,000 permit holders and stop stressing Caymanians in our country. But Sandra, who do you think are hiring people if it's not Caymanian-owned businesses? Who's they? You want the government to tell Caymanian businesses that they can't hire people when they need it because Caymanians are stressed? Here's the thing that I think we need to understand about population growth. Having a negative population or no population growth actually doesn't really help anybody. So I think maybe we need to start with understanding some basic things. Now, having controlled measurable growth is a different thing versus uncontrollable growth. But what is driving, this is my singular question, what is actually driving the work permits? Because the indication would be that if you require more laborers, just generally speaking, that means that your economy is growing. Yes? And economic growth is stressing Caymanians out. So we'd rather no economic growth. Listen carefully to what you're potentially saying here. You'd rather no economic growth, no work permits, and then Caymanians are going to be in a better position. How? Someone is mentioning revenue from permits. Let's not even think about that. But I think one potential issue, without a doubt, are a lot of the so-called work permits that are being submitted, actually fake work permits. So let's say we take out 5,000 to 10,000 work permits from that number. I don't know if it's that high, but I think it's in the thousands for sure of these fraudulent work permits where people don't even have work, but they're here. You see, that's where you address the problem, because automatically that might take out, let's say, a couple thousand work permits. I hope it's not that high, but if it is, we address that issue. But do you really think that 35,000 work permits, how many of those do you suspect are legitimate? I would say 90, 95%. It's always the 10% that are going to be on the legitimate side. And undoubtedly, even 5-10% can have a real impact on your economy and on your country. But I think you have to be careful, especially if it is Caymanian-owned businesses that are growing. The tourism industry is back and so on. And now you're telling people that you can't get a work permit approved or you can't get workers. Because the issue here in this country is we have more work than we have Caymanians. And that has always pretty much been the issue, once financial services got started. And we do need to look at it, I think, where those work permit jobs are. And let me be very, very frank, as I hope that I am on this program all the time. It's easy to say Caymanians are stressed out because people are here on work permits. But I also need to know the category of jobs that those fall into, right? And whether or not Caymanians are even interested in those industries. Because unfortunately, there are a lot of industries that Caymanians will not work in. Domestic, for example. So what percentage of our work permits are in domestic work? Find me 10 Caymanians who want to do that work, and I will give you $500 right here, right now. It just isn't happening, right? And Caymanians are also not upskilling and up-tooling themselves to be ready for the marketplace. That's a real conversation, folks. Yeah. Imagine. One of these days, we're going to have a frank discussion also about tourism. We've got these two pillars of our economy. So we're going to talk about tourism versus financial services. I hope you guys know that financial services trumps tourism by far in terms of the economic impact. And there's also less of an impact on our environment and other things from financial services than from tourism. But nobody's telling you that, because you see all these little people running around here and there and everywhere in town, and y'all think that that's a good look. And that means that somebody's making money. Alejandra says Wesleyan Christian Academy has a school bus, and they go to the house that the children live in that are signed up and collect them. Alejandro, that makes no sense. How big is Wesleyan Christian Academy, first of all? That would be my first question. Hold on. Wesleyan Christian Academy. They got all of what, 100 kids? How many children do they have? K through 12, private school. And they're in West Bay, right? That's the one that's in West Bay. So how many kids do you reckon Wesleyan has? But you know what it would take, and it's no better for the environment if a bus has to go to 10 different homes. I don't know where these kids live, but do they all live in the same neighborhood? Are they all in West Bay? Hello, Alejandro.
Well,
explain it to me.
Yeah, but exactly how you say is they live in West Bay, because Wesleyan Christian Academy apparently is just a little small private school. We're talking about private schools. I mean, the public buses.
Yeah, but listen, a lot of these private schools. All right, hold on. Stick a pin. Let's take a school like Cayman Prep. How many kids do you think go to Cayman Prep? Thousands of kids. And they're from all over the island. West Bay, North Side. I mean, they're all over. So you can't be showing up to people's front doors talking about, here, I'm here to pick up your kid to take him to school. You would spend the entire day collecting kids.
So it's okay for the government to do that, though.
What do you mean?
Because the government school does the same thing. They go to the West Bay the West Bay government school, exactly. They have different buses for different areas in the districts.
Yeah, but they go to individual doors. I've never seen them going to individual doors. They have like a drop-off point and kids walk.
Okay. For example, right? Bocelli Bay has one area where they have basically one road that the bus can just take, and every child could just walk a little 5 minutes to the top of the street. I understand you is very uncomfortable with those things, but if you have a perfectly good community where you can trust your neighbors and love your neighbors, it's not that hard to trust that your children is going to be on the top of the road waiting for a school bus to collect them.
Wait a minute, you said I must trust who? Who am I trusting?
years when I was in high school.
Wait.
6
Who
years.
did you say I must trust?
No, your children, your child. Then
I must trust a child at what age?
in middle school, we're talking for a school bus. I agree that a high school from your child has graduated from primary school. I mean, I even see primary school have the public buses too. I mean, the buses. You know, West Bay Primary School has a school bus as well.
Mm-hmm. I don't know because listen, I mean, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, we could safely say that no child has ever been kidnapped in the Cayman Islands. Now we're saying, we've had attempted kidnapping of children. So am I going to be trusting my child to be walking all the way from the bottom of Newlands all the way to the top of Newlands in the morning?
Okay, let me just make this a perfect example then for your solution, for your question on that thing. You know Mendoza, right? The Mendoza that is causing problems in Boson Bay up in King Road. Okay, he dropped his children to the top of the road. I mean, he stays in his car at the basketball court in West Bay, in Boson Bay, like what the people would consider a very dangerous community. And the thing is about it, right? And he drops his child there to make sure that he catches the bus and picks him up from the bus as well.
You said Ray says that you said in a perfect neighborhood. Well, I don't know who lives in a perfect neighborhood, but y'all might want to reconsider that.
I consider if you love your neighbors like what the Bible say. I mean, you should have a good relationship with your neighbors, right? Unless you have really big strikes against them.
But it's not my neighbors that I'm afraid of. It's often other people driving through the neighborhood.
I don't know.
But my neighbors aren't out there looking down the street to make sure that my child is going to get to the top of the road. My neighbors are busy getting their own kids ready, making their own coffee and doing their own thing.
Okay, well, I'm assuming that Savannah is a very big web connection community. Why can't the school buses just go inside of Hearst Road and then cut inside of some of those little areas where they have the?
Well, here's what a Wesleyan parent said.
It's such a big problem. I just think it's a very lazy option if nobody wants to do it.
Yeah. All right. Here's what one parent from Wesleyan Academy says. She said, my son went to WCA. We live in Spots, and the bus picked him up at Hurley's. And they also do a pickup at Compass Center in town. So she had to drop him at Hurley's before 7:30 in the morning.
That's what you expect if you want to carry your child to West Bay and you live in such a far district?
I'm not saying. I'm just saying that apparently they don't do. You made a statement that they pick up every student at the house, and I'm just saying that this parent said that isn't exactly true. So she lived in Spots. I guess all the eastern districts have to make it to Hurley's.
I'm talking about the West Bay community. There is also prep. There's also the Triple C. There's also the other private schools that I don't know about, right? And then and I think that if you're in West Bay or if you're in a community where you think that your child is perfectly fine to go to that school, like we have West Bay primary schools for West Bay community. They have Georgetown primary schools for Georgetown community. They have Northside primary schools for Northside community.
But there's no high school. There's no high school past primary school in West Bay, right?
But I think that this is what the government needs to start thinking about instead of delaying and spending the money on.
But tell me, let me ask you a question. I mean, I know this totally was not even on our topic today, but since we're going down this rabbit hole, let's dig a little bit deeper. Why would you? Let me ask you a question, right? You grew up in West Bay, right? You went to primary school. You know all the West Bay kids from primary school. Why would you want to go to middle and high school with all the same kids? Why not mix? I mean, this is a social problem that I think we have had in the past, right?
No, well, okay.
If you're suggesting building schools by district and all West Bay schools go to West Bay Middle and High School, how do they ever get to know that anybody outside of West Bay exists? I mean, let me be very frank and honest. There's already this cliquish behavior with certain districts. West Bay, probably one of them, you know, if you obey what I'm talking about here.
You're correct. And I think that that's parents' problems if they don't teach the children that they must love each other. But the thing is about it, right? Okay, I went to primary school in West Bay. And then when we went into transition with middle school, George Hicks School, and it wasn't no SciFec or none of those things in my times now. I'm talking about George Hicks and John Gray.
Mm-hmm.
And when we went to George Hicks, we were involved with all different schools, the international schools then. And this is the thing. When they had the international school sports day and stuff like this, we met children from other schools, so we were already aware of who we would be meeting when we go into these transition. With this transition, so high school and middle school was a breeze for us. You know what destroyed it? Hurricane Ivan, when they started separating the children and feeling it's better that they could have different houses separated in the same campus.
All right.
Yeah, that's what happened after Hurricane Ivan.
Okay. All right. Well, leave me there.
Yep.
I appreciate it. I'm certainly no expert on the public school system here, or even the private school system here, because as many of you will know, I did not grow up in the school system here. So I remember Georgetown, a little bit about Georgetown primary, and probably most of what I remember was the cute kid in school. I don't know. His name was Dominique. Anybody named Dominique that would be around my age? I don't know who he was, but he was like the cute. I think all the little girls in the 4th grade had a crush on Dominique because he was so cute. That's about what I remember about Georgetown primary. I don't remember nothing about the bus system or anything else. Stephen, we're back to the regular YouTube channel, so we should be back and live and direct. Quite a few people on there. Good morning to Miss Ethel. Nick is in the house. Oh, I think Denny's going to tell me who Dominic was. Denny? Good morning.
Yeah, Dominic was the problem that the previous scholar is having is that he's not appreciating the calculation of speed and distance, and why that necessitated you having to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to get the bus, because it takes a certain amount of time to cover a certain distance
of course,
a certain speed.
Yes, even if there was zero traffic on the road, your kids will still have to get up relatively early to be able to catch a school bus. And here's what one parent just said. Listen to this. This parent just said, yes, my son is 16 years old and he was waiting at a public bus. A man in a rental stopped and asked him if he wanted to ride. He said he sensed something was wrong, and he told the man he was waiting on me. Trust no one and teach your children to trust their instincts. Predators are all over the place. So, I mean, Alejandro also talked about, these perfect, safe neighborhoods where you can just trust people. And I don't know what kind of neighborhoods he's talking about.
He's talking about heaven, but that's not on earth. Okay?
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. I haven't been there yet, so I can't speak to that one.
You see, he needs to realize that if the bus takes all of those little side roads to pick up everybody from their homes, he has to realize how much more time it will take to get to school. In other words, the children will get less sleep, which means they will have more difficulties learning.
Yes. And this is why I shared when I was in the States and I took the school bus system, it wasn't any better for me as a kid. I still had to get up early. It just meant that my aunt didn't necessarily, she was a stay-at-home aunt. She didn't necessarily have to get up super early. I mean, she got up anyway, because obviously she was an active parent, and she was cooking breakfast and, doing all those things to get everybody at the door. So I still had to get up she still had to get up early anyway. It wasn't like I was getting up, dressing myself and walking out the door by myself. Right. Yeah. It's just that she wasn't getting in another car and going to a job, but other people in the household were. So, having me get up at 5 o'clock in the morning as a 9-year-old, trust me, was just no fun, because our commute was like an hour-long commute, because they bussed us all the way out in the boondocks, like literally in the country. You'd be falling asleep on the bus, like looking at the cows, kind of thing. But this was because they were trying to
school. You're already mentally fatigued.
Yeah, I mean, they were trying to force forced integration in the U.S. because they felt like they had to do that. Otherwise, the same thing that I'm saying about all the West Bay kids going to one school, you'd have all city kids and neighborhood kids going to one school, and they never get the diversity of sometimes even better schools, because you have to be very careful when you're creating schools by community and by district, because the rich communities, the richer districts get the better schools. And so there's also that issue, and there's less diversity. I think that this partial segregation, because I think it's false to say that our schools are completely segregated, because in fact, government schools are open to foreign nationals. I keep having a school teacher friend of mine tell me that she's like, they're open to anybody if there is room available. But what has now happened is we've created two very separate school systems where we have the haves and the have-nots. And unfortunately, because government has a different approach to behavioral issues within government school, you'll find that most parents, myself included, don't want their child going to a government school, not because of the quality of education necessarily, but because government has no control over the behavioral issues and they don't seem equipped to do anything about it, anything meaningful. And so then you run the risk of putting your child, in a school where there's bullying, they see all kind of vaping and smoking, and they get hold of a pot brownie and all this kind of stuff. Mind you, now I'm not saying that these things don't happen in private schools. What I'm saying is when they do happen in private schools, the private schools have the ability to suspend people and to, in fact, expel people from their program. Government doesn't seem to be so capable. So now you're creating two separate paths, right? Where the private schools are indeed getting better access. Those kids are getting better access. They're getting, better equipment, and parents can, some parents, not all parents, because some parents hustling to keep kids in private school. Some parents can afford it. And it's just a very unequal education system. I think it's unfortunate. And I think the window for us to address that particular part of the problem is closing. And it will soon be closed for good if government doesn't get rid of this nonsense about separate but equal between private and government, and not allowing foreigners into government school.
But the main reason why they did that was because government was trying to save money on not having to build facilities, and what they did was they said, well, okay, let's subsidize the child going to a private school, because it would be cheaper for government than government to spend money building facilities when they didn't have the money.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how it got started. It wasn't that somebody said, well, I think our kids need to be separate from everybody else's. It was just trying to be practical about saving money, which I mean, to me, I wouldn't have taken that approach, but I'm just telling you the explanation that was given, because I've been listening to the broadcasts of the LA for a long time and heard a lot of explanations about why things are done the way they're done. And so that's how we got to where we are. But it's not that the concept of having schools in communities is a bad one, because you have this practical limitation of how far you can go in a given slice of time. And so as the population gets larger, it's harder to get children from East End to Georgetown to go to one school at the same time of the morning on time.
Mm-hmm.
So there are practical reasons why you would separate schools, the quantity, break them up into quantities, because you can manage flow better. But the point that I think that your previous caller is not appreciating is that he's talking about if our society was such that it was perfect, that people could be trusted, and there are other issues too. There is, in the months in which it's pouring rain, you want your kids to walk to the top of the road in the pouring rain to go to school? That's just not practical.
Mm-hmm.
We need to try to understand that when you're developing infrastructure, you need to develop it in such a way that it actually is functional.
Mm-hmm.
Not try to cut corners on everything. You remember when, I think it was Hurricane Andrew that went through Florida, that smashed up the place really, really badly?
Mm-hmm.
They did an analysis after that, and they found out that what caused most of the homes to receive so much damage was that you had people cutting corners, and a lot of the things corners on was like just hurricane straps and having adequate amount of nails in those straps and just simple little things that if you were to total the whole thing up, you're looking at like maybe $2,000. Right? So they lost their house because they didn't want to spend $2,000. That's the kind of stupidity that happens when you're cutting corners. And the same is true with other types of infrastructure. Foolishness. And we need to stop it.
All right, Denny. Thanks very much. Appreciate it. Trust me, this was not on our topic list at all, but I think, we can definitely spend a little bit more time in this because it's very interesting what some of the comments are. So Alejandro says that only 22-mile island, Denny, it still takes, it's not about a 22-mile island. A 22-mile island, when there's no traffic on the road, is easy enough to drive. When there is traffic, because you're not, by introducing a bus system, you're not eliminating traffic, to be clear, right? There are people who are still going to be driving themselves to get to work. So even if the school bus system is improved, you're not still having no traffic, no morning traffic. In fact, I can think of very few places in the world that don't have some degree of morning traffic. Well, except for Cayman Brac, I guess. You pass 5 cars in the morning. And that's just because their population is what it is. And mostly they're all retired and they don't have to go anywhere in the morning. A lot of them do not work. So even, again, just using my example, and of course this was in the States, even getting up at that time of morning, I was still sitting in traffic on the bus. I just wasn't sitting in traffic in my aunt's car. You know what I'm saying? There was still tons of traffic because we had to get it was like a 45-minute drive, interstate driving alone. And then by the time we got off the interstate, it's probably like another 15 minutes to get from the school from there. Natasia says, my daughter goes to SciFec. The bus leaves Baden town at 6 a.m. to be to school for 8 for a start time of 8:20 a.m. That child is still getting up. Oh my God. What time does your daughter get up? Is that 5? The latest she could probably get up, depending on how close the bus is. Or is she walking to the bus stop? Are you driving her to the bus stop? But okay, 5:15. She could have a quick shower, eat a quick breakfast, grab her books, and out the door by 5:45 so she can get to the bus stop at 6 a.m. not to miss the bus. Ooh, Lord, I remember the days that I did miss the bus. Oh my God. Havoc. Everton says the only time the school bus will go to someone's house and pick up the child, unless the child is of some kind of disability, will actually go to the home and pick up the kid. Like I said, I don't know if Wesleyan does something different for just the West Bay kids, but we just had one parent who said that that's not how it is for the Eastern districts that go to Wesleyan Academy. Chevrolet says, yeah, I know that they go down the road in front of mine to do the same, but not for me. And then I'd be waiting and then they don't stop. I gave up. Oh gosh. What school do your kids go to, by the way? Oh, she says, public buses are not reliable. I've had my kids dressed and ready and wait for a full hour to find out after dropping kids to school, the bus didn't cross for some reason unknown to parents. Is that the public bus or the school bus, Chevrolet? I'm wondering. But everybody knows the public bus system here sucks. I mean, that's the only proper term to describe it. Last week, we saw multiple pictures and videos of these school bus drivers on their, not school bus drivers, my apologies, bus drivers, public bus drivers on their phones the entire way. People nominating them for Jackass of the Day. They're like, Sandy, this guy was holding the phone up to his ear, not even a hands-free phone, just holding it up to his ear the entire drive, driving dangerously. Chevrolet says this is not true. Mine go to Savannah Primary, and they told me straight up that they wasn't coming down my road. I'm telling you, most buses do not go door to door, and they certainly don't. They're going to pick a location, and it might be depending on where you live, closer or further away. Sandra says, let's make permit holders take the bus. Most of them ride, cycle in their own country, or take the public bus system. Nick says, simple solution. Convert all school buses, tour buses, and public buses to the same system and improve the routes. There's more than enough supply of vehicles. The problem is they're not optimally used. Get foreigners, private and public school children, and all people integrated on a free transport system. Whoa, Nick, free? Hold on now. Ain't nothing in life free, honey child. Who is paying for that? Nothing is free. Even when the government offers you something for free, it ain't free. You pay for it. You may not be paying for it as a direct line item, but you dig in their budget and you are paying for it. They're going to have to, that's going to cost millions of dollars, and that money is coming from somewhere. Okay? No such thing as free, Nick. Trust me. They're either taking it from somewhere else right now that exists, or they're going to have to increase some fees to pay for it. Nothing in life is free. Everything comes at a cost. Now, the problem with that suggestion, Nick, and I'll be honest with you, if I were a parent, I would not want, I mean, I understand the logistics of you saying it's just one bus system, but I wouldn't want my kid on a bus with adults and others trying to get to school. And I don't care how old that kid is, even a high schooler. So if it's one bus system, you want them sitting next to some adult that could be like a pervert or something. I'm not really feeling that solution at all for the safety of our children. I think you need to have two separate systems for children. They're already at risk amongst their own teens, trust and believe that. And then a separate bus system for the regular people going to work and regular adults and so on. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. I was reading some of your comments about the schools in the UK, and I know this doesn't help it came on, but the children in Scotland, where my get a bus pass when they're 5 years old until they're 22, which allows them to take the public bus for free. And it also covers them to take the trams. So the kids in Scotland do not have private buses. They take the public bus to school.
And that public bus means adults are on the bus as well?
Yes.
And you feel safe with your children doing that?
Well, my high schooler, who's now 16, has taken the bus, but because of my son's autism, he gets a taxi from the house to school.
Okay.
But my daughter has taken the bus for high school.
How old's your daughter?
She's now 16.
Okay. And what age did she start taking the bus?
11.
She was 11. Okay. All right. You never had any safety concerns with her taking a public bus at 11 in Scotland?
Nope, because all the buses in Scotland have CCTVs.
Did you hear the story I played last week about the bus in the US that has a CCTV? It's a school bus, actually. And a 6-year-old was being sexually assaulted in the back of the bus by one of the older kids.
No, I think I missed that one. But my daughter would get on the bus and I would walk her to the bus stop. Then I would wait for her to get on the bus. She would call me when she got to school to say, "Mommy, I got there safe."
Okay.
But I never had any issues.
Right. All right. Appreciate it.
No problem.
All right, my dear. Thanks. Yeah, I mean, you guys know I'm a hyper vigilant parent, honey child. Some of these things make me so uncomfortable. I can't even begin to tell you. Someone said, stop scaring people. Danger lurks everywhere. That's exactly what I know. And that's exactly why I'm like, what? Okay. Like I said, I took a school bus, right? And there was really, we had wardens, like proper wardens on the bus. There's a way to make it work. And the second you got off the bus, you were right there. Somebody's making sure you cross the road safely. I'm not saying that there's not a way to make it work. I think that people ignore a lot of potential danger signs. And this is what always scares me about Caymanians in particular, when we say things like, oh, I live in a safe neighborhood, yet y'all don't even remember the instances of children almost being kidnapped on this little island that we all think is pretty safe for kids. And there have been instances, let me make myself painstakingly clear. There have been instances where at least one pervert, we were talking about him the other day when we were talking about rape culture, grabbed a kid off the bus, dragged her up the street inside his house, and raped her. And she was a child. So y'all don't need to tell me that I'm paranoid and these things don't happen in the Cayman Islands. I know that they are happening because I sit down and read some of these cases. I'm in court. You guys just stick your head in the sand and believe that, you know, we live in the golden era and everything's perfect and all your neighbors are nice and whatever. Caller, tell me if I'm paranoid.
No, you're not. And do you know the reason why people are moving from California and New York, places like Texas and Florida?
Mm-hmm.
You're
Why?
probably wondering what the hell does that have to do with busing in the Cayman Islands? High taxation.
Yes, this is what I was gonna. I was actually gonna ask that last caller. I meant to ask her that before she hung up. What sort of taxes are they paying in Scotland? Who's paying for this? Because you think that it's free for you and your kids, which means that you don't pay an upfront fee, but nothing is free. So what's the tax system in Scotland? I'm afraid I don't know much about it. But do tell me, you know, how you're really paying for it. Because it ain't free. It's free for your kid on the front end, but somebody pays for it. So I'm curious as to what the tax system is like in.
What worries me is
Mm-hmm.
yeah, what worries me is that we have people here asking for free.
Mm-hmm.
Asking for free is to be begging for taxation. That point needs to be clear, because, like you rightly said, there is nothing that's free.
Mm-hmm.
I'll try to leave it there.
All right. Everton says between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. That's the worst time that you can be on the road here in the United States. The traffic situation is all over the world. It's not only your country. Every day we improve on the highway, make them bigger, fast. The travel lane, express lane doesn't make a difference. Everybody wants to drive. They want to feel that independence. Well, that's part of the issue. And I think part of the issue as well is that, oh gosh, somebody said the radio voice is back again. Part of the issue as well is that, one second. Just message check. Part of the issue as well is that the public transport system, the road infrastructure, they're always behind, Everton. Even in the United States of America, you'd be surprised, but most road systems are like 25 years behind the population growth. So we're not the only ones that are having an issue with development keeping up. Like development meaning hospitals, school infrastructures, and all this sort of stuff. This is very, very unfortunately systemic across the board with a lot of places all over the world. Unless you live in one of those very, very unique places where they're trying to pay you to move there because they have, you know, a population that has retracted and people not giving birth and all these sorts of other things. Sonia is praying for innocent children to be safe on their journey back into and from school. Everton says predators live in some of these beautiful upscale neighborhoods that you'd be surprised. My point is they're everywhere. So I wouldn't be surprised. I personally am not surprised. You all might be surprised, but anyone can be a predator just like anyone can be a victim. So that caller says she doesn't know anything about the tax system. Wait a minute. So you're not paying taxes? Child, this is where y'all need a reality check because somebody's paying for it. It is definitely not for free. So this caller says, what are you going to do when that little Johnny pinches Gigi's butt? I'm going to smack Johnny upside the head and tell him to keep his hands to himself. That's what Johnny's going to get. A good old-fashioned Georgetown slap. That's what he ain't get. And more importantly, I'm also going to teach my daughter that nobody gets to touch her in that way. And if they do, she'll soon be starting some karate lessons. She's going to be able to kick Johnny. She gave him a Tiffany Conley kick right in the gonads. All right, folks. This person says the bus is where a great deal of bullying actually goes on. Some people are saying there's very few generational Caymanians as trash men, waiters, laborers, and yard guys, AC or pool guys, car wash guys, etc. All right. This is an interesting conversation. Not what we had on tap at all, but you guys know we just go with the flow. All right, let's talk about a few things that are on tap that happened over the weekend. So today is obviously Monday Rewind show. So let's talk a bit about that, shall we? It's Monday Rewind.
Time for Monday Rewind. The Cold Hard Troops Monday Rewind show recaps the weekend's news and events so you don't miss a beat.
Don't miss out.
All the weekend's source, news, gossip, and well, it wouldn't be a weekend recap show without traffic accidents too. Cayman Marl Road is Cayman's #1 news source and has the island's hottest morning talk show.
It's the hottest.
Make sure you don't miss a beat with Monday Rewind.
Rewind.
Tune in every Monday from 7:30 a.m. on both YouTube and Facebook.
Welcome back. Let me see here now. This person said that slap afterwards not gonna protect her in the beginning. Well, she's gonna be protected because she ain't gonna be in too many of those situations. It's unfortunate that we even have conversations like, oh, you can only protect your kids so much, because the problem isn't the little girls. It's the little boys and maybe even other girls who need to learn how to keep their hands to themselves. And this is exactly why some parents refuse to allow their kids to go to a public school, because the public school mentality is, you know, at home, I don't teach my kids any manners, or anything of the sort. And then they can go out there wreaking havoc on other people. And that's going to somehow be okay for them to do that, you know? And yeah, that's not okay. You know, people want their children around other kids who have some manners, and some, as Caymanians would say, some brought upsy. And if you have to pay for that, there's a lot of parents who will make the necessary sacrifice, believe me, to at least keep them safe until they really have no choice but to go out in the big bad world, because it's something else out there. All right. So Monday Rewind, couple quick things. Yesterday I had surgery. I had dental surgery. So you might have just seen me pop a pill. I'm taking some painkillers this morning. As I'm talking, I am feeling a little bit of discomfort. But, you know, this is something I put off for a really long time. I had an extraction. Oh, my God, it's probably over a year ago, or at least close to a year now. Unfortunately, one tooth had to be extracted. It was root canal treated twice, and the root canal simply failed. And so they said, well, you know, Sandy, I think we got to take that tooth out. And I was like, oh, really? And they're like, yeah. So sure enough, when they went at the tooth, the dentist said, wow, this tooth was just, it looked fine on the outside. And even the x-ray didn't show the extent of damage. But when he tried to take it out, he couldn't even take it out one piece. It just like broke apart. Like it was really just a bad tooth. So unfortunately, that tooth had to come out. And so I've been heeing and hawing and humming and hoeing about a tooth implant, because the idea of having a screw put into your jaw just doesn't sound very, very pleasant to me. However, I must tell you that in my brain, I had over exaggerated what it would be like. So it just happened yesterday. So it's not even 24 hours yet, but I'm not in a horrible amount of pain. It's definitely bearable, and obviously I'm working, so I'm fine from that perspective. Now, talking this morning with that same mouth is a little bit challenging. It's on this side, on the top. And I can't eat on that side for like a couple weeks, and there's this whole regimen. So I'm taking a little bit of painkillers, 600 milligram of ibuprofen, honey gel. And of course, I have to take it with foods. I did eat some breakfast this morning as well. So that was my day yesterday. It's fine. I'll be fine. Trust me. I have one more to do actually. And I thought to myself, let me do this one first and then see how that goes. It wasn't that bad. I mean, they numb it well enough where you just close your eyes and let them do their thing, right? All the drilling and whatever. And, you just been like, okay, this is going to be over. All right. So I'm going to survive that. I'm sure. Cal Thompson retired. He had his last flight on Friday, KX 105 from Miami. So congratulations to Captain Cal Thompson. Cayman Airways, that was his last flight. And I was noticing on his Facebook every time he'd come in from Dallas or LA or whatever, he'd be like, okay, this is going to be my last LA flight ever. And so he is now officially retired. Thank you, Jessica. She says, I did a tooth implant for the same reason, and I definitely don't regret it. It was so annoying before I got it because food kept getting into the space. Quick recovery. Well, this space was pretty big. So there was like a whole tooth was gone. So no food was really getting in there per se, but it impacted my smile because I couldn't smile as big because I got a tooth missing right up here on this side. I was like, half smile. So I did have a little flipper tooth. A lot of you totally didn't even know this. I had a little flipper tooth, which was obviously a temporary solution. So if I was going to like certain events and stuff, you kind of feel weird having that one tooth missing. I just stick in the flipper tooth. So listen to Gigi and her logic as a kid. She's like, oh, good. Now you don't have to be talking about how you forgot your tooth. Because half the time I'd be on my way into town, be like, oh man, I got to turn back because I forgot my tooth. I was like, yeah. So you guys know how implants work, right? There's a part 1 and a part 2. So you do the part 1, and then you have to wait 4 to 6 months to make sure that the bone growth around the actual screw is fine and that there's no issues. So it has to take before you can do the final step. I think the standard used to be 6 months. Now it's as early as 4 months. Although the periodontal surgeon yesterday was saying to me that in some cases it can be a couple months. It just depends on how quickly, how quickly it, let me see here. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the audio for some of you. Is that on radio? Where is that? So yes, so it's all good. It'll be fine. And then I'll muster up the courage to do the other one soon. It's like your head plays tricks on you and you feel like something's going to be way worse than it actually is. You know that saying, you have nothing to fear but fear itself? It is so true. With so many things in life, sometimes you just got to be like, I'm going to get out there and just do it. Just get that tooth implant, honey chow. All right, congratulations to Cal Thompson. Of course, it's a bittersweet moment for him because, as you guys know, his only sibling, his brother, passed away just days before. And I'm sure Gene would have been there with him to celebrate this amazing occasion. So Cayman Airways is, El Ray says, oh, how quickly you want to mash them oxtail bones. I'm not a bone person. I've never chewed a bone up in my life. I don't think. Maybe like once, but I'm not a bone person. Yeah, so the dentist jokingly said to me that men, in particular, because y'all know men believe they're so macho and whatever, that they like to put, like, even before the surgery, like this location is healed. So, I've got dissolvable stitches and whatever in there. Like, men will get peanuts and start cracking a peanut and stuff like that. I'm like, ooh, that sounds painful. Are you guys crazy? Nope, I'm not eating on that side. I'm not eating no bones. I'm not cracking no peanuts. I'm not going to open no beer bottles with my teeth. Oh, y'all are crazy. All right, so Cal Thompson, y'all keep disrupting my train of thought here. Congratulations on your retirement. Cayman Airways has a forced retirement plan at, is it 65? Is that how old he would have to be? I think so. And so, good. I mean, he's a busy man. He's got lots of other businesses and things going on. It's not like he's going to be retiring for good. I mean, retiring from everything, I should say. He's just retiring from flying. And, there was controversy about his return and how he was given a captain position and blah, blah, blah. So it is what it is. And look at that. Time flew by. That last year went by so quickly. So congratulations to now retired Captain Cal Thompson. Yeah, like I said, I'm sure he will keep busy with a lot of other projects and businesses that he has. All right. So the couple really interesting things happened over the weekend. Andrea Bocelli. He had a concert performed at a private event on Saturday evening. I don't even want to discuss this, to be honest, but it was topical over the weekend. I'm going to make very, very limited remarks about the situation. Wendy Ledger, big shout out to Wendy over at Keyman News Service, was the only entity that did a proper assessment of what this was all about. Now, y'all were up in arms about Wendy's article because I think at some point she referred to him as someone who is a blind something or another. So I think her wording, she says the famous blind Italian tenor has confirmed that he's interrupting his official world tour to do a fundraising concert in the Cayman Islands on Saturday evening. So it was that description that a lot of you were up in arms about. And I can see why you might find that, I guess, offensive, but he is a blind Italian tenor. And I mean, yes, he's amazing, but would you think he was as amazing if he wasn't eye impaired or whatever the politically correct word is? I mean, there's a lot of amazing tenors out there. And without a doubt, he is considered one of the best that is probably still alive. But what makes him so much more amazing is the fact that this guy, I think, has been blind his entire life. So, I mean, yes, folks, I think Chuck he's on the radio trying to figure that out. Yeah, there's something going on with the radio today. Not quite sure what it is, but Chuck is in the job. So he might have to restart something on their end. So, I think that to her article, really the concern in my mind wasn't even whether or not he was going to be performing. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Sandra. How are you doing today?
Not bad. How are you?
Not too bad.
Good.
I know you're on a different topic this morning, but I had to get this off my chest.
Mm-hmm.
I think I saw you at the agriculture show on Wednesday.
Yes.
Anyway, I think it was a huge turnout.
Mm-hmm.
Traffic was as usual, but eventually got there. What I'm calling about is item.
Oh, Lord. I don't know if the connection dropped or what. Flo, where are my Flo people? Ronaldo, listen to me. Can we please get a toll-free number around here? I mean, what does a girl have to do? Tell me, do I need to start singing like a tenor to get a toll-free number? My goodness. You don't want to give the number one talk show a toll-free number? I mean, we'll raise money to pay for it if we have to. Can we just get a toll-free number already? I don't know if that person ran out of credit or what happened. Let me call him back, honey, chill. Oh, my goodness. We need a protest. We need a toll-free number. We need a toll-free number. All right.
Number you dialed is temporarily out of service.
Maybe they Maybe their battery died. I don't know. El Rey says, actually, I never knew that Bocelli was blind. What? You didn't? Okay. So Chuck says, we're thinking that this is an internet problem and it's not on our side. Well, Chuck, I tell you what. Our suggestions that you hang up and reconnect. Okay, hold on, radio folks. We'll try. And I can also switch because now I have two providers, so we could test that theory very, very quickly as well. But I honestly don't think that that's the issue today. Because like I said, I've got two connections. So, but let me disconnect the radio. Hold on one second, folks. Just hold on. And then we're going to give it a few seconds here. I'm going to refresh and then I will log back in. So I don't know, but I can midstream, like literally just change my providers now. So that's how I can always tell. And the interesting thing is I may not notice it for the online stream because of those things have something built in. Anyway, yes, he is hearing. He is eye impaired. So I'm surprised not everybody knew this. So it says that operatic tenor Andrea Bocelli is classical music's biggest selling living artist with record sales of over 80 million units and the world's most popular, let me see what it says, in the world's most popular crossover artist. He has recorded complete operas, popular songs in countless areas, and debuted with the likes of Celine Dion and famously Sarah Brightman. So no, I mean, he is, yes, he definitely does. He is, yeah. I don't know. Somebody said that he might have gone. Yeah, he's been blind since he was 12 years old. Obviously he's Italian. And he had congenital glaucoma, and then he had a blow to his head while tending goal during soccer. And he did not begin his singing career until the late 1980s when he began performing in piano bars throughout Italy. Before then, he earned a law degree from the University of Pisa. And in 1993, he was signed a record contract after a scout heard him during a party. And that was the beginning of his spectacular career. So, yes, he is well known, I think, in that area. And I think that Mark says, Sandy, please don't sing. Listen, Flo would be paying me not to sing if they ever heard me sing. They'd be like, child, we'll give you a toll-free number, just do not sing. Ooh, honey child. So, listen, Wendy did an article on it. I knew that Wendy's article was coming. And what can I say? Here's the thing about this event. I heard about it quite early on. And then I heard a lot of questions about the event organizers and how it was going to be organized. And one of the things that had people questioning it is the original marketing material that was floating around in reference to this. Like, they were actually going door to door handing out these flyers and stuff, right? And it had a lot of typos in it. And it also had stuff like the wrong name of the charity. I'm like, who gets the name of your own charity wrong? Like, to me, that doesn't quite make any sense. There's something amiss there. It made mention of the fact that it was going to be It talked about sponsorship opportunities, sponsorship levels, and it was going to be at the Mandarin Hotel. Any fool in China knows that the Mandarin Hotel in the Cayman Islands has not even broken ground yet. So that was fishy. Yes? And it's all these fishy things that, quite frankly, made this questionable. And so a lot of people are like, is this legit? Are these people for real? Like, what's really going on here? The organizer actually called me because somebody told her, you know how these telephone stories go, that I said that he wasn't coming. And so she called me to say, well, I heard that you said he isn't coming. I was like, woman, please. I said, please stop. While you're ahead, come off my friggin' phone. And you know I was about to say something else. Come off my phone, because had I said that on radio, it wouldn't be one person telling you that. Your phone would have been blowing up with everybody saying that Sandy said something about this. I purposely said nothing about this concert beforehand because I didn't want to. And it's a private, I don't care if they're calling it a fundraiser, what the hell they want to call it. It's a private function. And, you know, I myself had some questions about it. So I said nothing positive and I said nothing negative. I was just waiting to see what would happen. Wendy did an article where she started to do some digging and she started to ask some questions. The question wasn't so much whether or not he was coming. Okay. It is a question of the proceeds for this benefit. There's a lot of questions around that aspect of it. And I agree with Wendy that even to now, no one has satisfied in my mind that those questions have been legitimately answered. So firstly, you had documentation that was in circulation. I'm going to show y'all what it looked like, because this was the first thing that someone sent me, ironically from a doctor's office, saying, listen, Sandy, we need you to look into this because we don't know if this is legit. These people are coming to our door, handing out these flyers. And this is what it looks like, because they put it in the trash bin. But before they put it in the trash bin, they sent some pictures of it. And they're like, is this for real? Now, come on. You have a headliner like Andrea Bocelli coming, right? And you literally have, you're charging $1,500 and $2,500 for tickets. And this is the best you can do with material handing it out to people, begging them to come and spend money for your concert. You've got to be kidding me, right? And I think that's really what people were asking in the questions that they were asking. So from day one, the $1,500 tickets were sold out. Only $2,500 tickets were available. And so, you know, this was in circulation. And I literally had people saying, hey, Sandy, look at this. You know, can you shed some light on this? I don't know. This person said eventually they put it in the shredder. So I made a few inquiries, and apparently the organizer, Linda, somehow confused that with me saying on radio that this guy was not coming, which was never said. And I said to her very, very plainly, allow me to be painstakingly clear with you. At no point in time have I mentioned him, you, anything on my radio program. And like I said, the fact that only one person has told you that should tell you, if you had common sense, that that could not have possibly been true. And then she quickly changed her tone of voice and started asking for my support. And I'm like, I can't give my support for something that I myself have too many questions about and that I just don't really understand. So, you know, they're saying that they're trying to get this PET scan, this PET CT, to help, you know, find cancers and so on. But the problem, here's the problem. Her husband, she says, and I've looked him up, he is a developer, a medical, oh gosh, what's the proper term for him? He is a medical inventor. Yes. So he's invented some device many years ago, and they're saying, oh, they need research and seed money for him to do like a smaller version of it. So it's not even that there's one that exists, but I guess he wants to create it and whatever. Listen, this isn't really how people in the medical profession who are looking seed money, this isn't how they do it. They don't hold a public private concert to raise funds for it. So there's a lot of questions even about how this is being done. This is not, speak to anybody who has to order medical equipment and how they order it and how they get investors, because some of these equipment, yes, it's expensive. And this isn't about the equipment. This is actually about the research needed to actually build a new piece of equipment, the research and development. This isn't how you fundraise for those types of events. So it is very, very unusual, I must tell you. So much so that it kind of doesn't make any sense on some levels. And there were questions about the ticket money being wired overseas. So it's not going to be here. Like, there were just too many questions around this for me to be jumping up. And first of all, wanting to spend $2,500 of my money. And to be very clear, I saw people saying, oh, if I had $2,500, I would go. Well, I might have $2,500 and I still wasn't going. It was really not about seeing him. Oh, I'll catch him on a tour in Miami. Don't worry about that for $150. It wasn't about that. Or even $500 or $1,000 US, right? It was really a question of what exactly am I supporting here? It's not just about seeing this performer. It's about trying to understand the back end of this. So they said in their commentary that this is from these individuals. We believe the new technology will qualify as a screening tool for most cancers occurring in the human body. Okay, so it's not even that far. Like, I don't know what this new technology is supposed to be. Like, it's just too many questions. When the goal of the low radiation dose requirements and lower costs of scanning are met, TPET scanning will be similar to that of breast cancer screening and can be made available to everyone. The funds raised from this performance will help support our efforts and what is expected to become a profit-making venture. So you're engaged in a research and development for something that will become a profit-making venture. But as a nonprofit organization, you're trying to raise funds from the public to go towards your profit-making venture. Why don't you just do it the traditional way and get investors and give them an investor's prospectus, and they're going to be holding you accountable for their investor money? Because what happens when you do it this way is that there's no accountability. And I've talked to you guys before about the lack of accountability when it comes to NPOs in this jurisdiction. There's zero accountability. Somebody tells you, oh, we're fundraising for aliens to be able to come to the Cayman Islands, and you don't know anything about it. You go to the event, give them your money, and you don't ever check to say, well, did the aliens ever come visit? Did I miss it? Did I miss the alien ship landing? Like, what happened? Too many questions and simply not enough answers. And so, again, there were concerns with them listing a venue that had not even been built yet. Who does that? You see, these are things to me, unfortunately, that are really, really big red flags. Like, seriously, right? These people are supposed to be wealthy individuals. They have access to money. They're Trump supporters. They're Trump friends, okay? She has a Trump, apparently she's part of something called the Trumpettes. So she does fundraising for Trump. Okay, so you're riding with the big boys. Why do you even have to have this event in the Cayman Islands to raise money? Throw a private party at Mar-a-Lago where Trump and his supporters can pay $5,000 a plate to sit down with Andrea Bocelli and listen to him singing and whatever. I'm very, very skeptical about the whole thing. And then the money gets wired overseas. Why? Right? And who's going to hold you accountable? Like it just doesn't, I'm sorry, but it doesn't sit well with me. And when things don't sit well with me, I have to speak the truth. So there's this LRN charitable company. I guess that's her initials, Linda, whatever her middle name is, Nutt. It's a registered Cayman Islands NPO. And they said that they're trying to raise money for the research and development of a piece of medical machinery. Okay, for the research and development of it. Y'all understand what that means? It's not the purchasing of the equipment or anything. It's the earliest possible research and development. The equipment doesn't even exist yet. You all need to understand what is actually being said here. In the first marketing materials circulated in Cayman to promote the event, the charitable company named and misspelled that the company's name, LRN Charitable Company, was actually misspelled, and an incorrect logo was used. Again, folks, these are all red flags. How can you be putting together? You saw the flyers that I just showed you, right? Marketing material for a headliner like Mr. Bocelli, and you can't get the name of your organization nor the logo right? What? Are you kidding me? None of that doesn't make any sense. So explain it to me, please. Because again, I'm a bit dumbfounded. And then you say that people are going to be included in the ticket. It was dinner at the Mandarin Hotel in Beach Bay. The Mandarin Hotel has not broken ground yet. So you're having dinner with the with who exactly? With the mosquitoes? I'm not quite sure that I understand. So there's too many questions when you're trying to organize an event of this magnitude and you get this much stuff wrong. In my mind, I have too many questions and not enough answers. And of course, government, like, yeah, they probably gave them the venue. The government doesn't ask any questions. I can't trust the Cayman Islands government to do anything to par when it comes to certain things. All the MPs, they want to show up and be able to post on their social media that, oh, they got to see Andrea Bocelli. I'm like, okay, because this will be the only time in your lifetime that you get to do that as an MP or a minister. Because after we fire you from that job, that opportunity will not present itself again. I understand. I get it. I feel you. Anywho, those of you who attended, I'm glad that you enjoyed it. I saw a number of you posting stuff up. Wendy goes on to say, those who wanted to buy the costly tickets were asked to pay via wire transfer, and the details of how the money being used was actually very vague. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program. Hello. Uh-oh. Didn't happen. So I don't know. The whole thing just didn't sit well with me. Too vague, too many questions, not enough answers. Yeah. So if you just wanted to go to a concert, then whatever. But so government officials told CNS that they were aware of questions about the charity and the validity of the concert, given the concerns about the early promotional materials and the misleading information. However, they confirmed that LRN was a registered charity and the materials naming it as the LRN Charitable Company were made in error. Again, who does that? This is your top tenor. You put together marketing material that then you photocopy and it looks like shit. And then you don't even bother to spell check any of it. You have the wrong company name, the wrong logo. It's just bizarre. They didn't answer any questions from CNS. I was like, whatever. All right. Jonathan says nothing for free, honey child. That's right. You just got to know where your money's going. Oh. Sue says she loves him. I had 2 of his songs at Paul's Celebration of Life. He's on my bucket list, but not for them prices. Were out of reach for me. And again, because it's a fundraiser, I don't know what they were charging him to come here. But I mean, I'm sure he came in on a private jet and he came in with an entire entourage of performers, whatever. And I hope that these people broke even and have money now for their so-called research and development. I'm looking forward to seeing 20 years from now, that's actually going to benefit the people of the Cayman Islands. Because if you're still at the research and development stage, this isn't something that's going to be happening anytime soon. Rest assured. And by then, technology probably would have left the PET scan onto something else. Let me clarify a few things that's worth clarifying, because there were some rumors out there in the stratosphere of the Mall Road. So some people were rumoring that somehow they were working in conjunction with Health City, and this was a Health City project. And I can confirm with you that I checked with Health City. Health City knows nothing about these people. They know nothing about this situation. And in fact, they themselves have said, this is not how people in the medical profession go about getting investors. Like, they've never heard of someone having a concert. So I want to make that very, very clear on behalf of Health City, that this has nothing to do with them. They don't know anything about it. They're like, what? Who? What? And, they're actually getting, just to clarify their position, they're getting state-of-the-art machinery, which is one of the highest cost machinery in the entire world. And they're getting access to that because, again, of their connections through, their parent group in India and just the buying power and stuff that they have through that group. And they said, we would never. So they said, we have never gone to the public to raise money for our investments, because most investors don't really do it that way. And if they do it that way, they do crowdfunding. And, I don't understand what this is. To me, this is just really, really bizarre. And so I understand that even when you're trying to raise money for research, or you're trying to do research, it has to be approved by the Health Practice Commission if it's something that's local, and they're very, very strict about that. So again, none of that seems to have been in place. All right. So many private jets came in here on Saturday for this one night, says Sue. Well, I guess that means that the event must have hopefully been a success for them. Good luck to all of the parties. Alejandro says he's not surprised. I mean, I don't know, were these people sitting down having dinner with him? I don't exactly, like I said, none of it makes any sense to me. Carol says this is a scam, surely. Jim says, how much actually went to the charity? You see, these are the questions that we will never get answered. And I'm sure not a single MP who attended the event or supported it would have any of that information available. And I bet you we'll never find out. Who knows? There'll be no accounting of the money or nothing. Good morning, inspiring. Alejandro says like a modern Leonardo da Vinci. No, I wasn't thinking of infections. Are we off topic here? He's an inventor. Like, he has invented one or two machines. He has a couple patents. Sounds like someone is trying to scrubbing some cash. Maybe it was a Bocelli. Maybe it was Bocelli was a lookalike and they got scammed. No, I don't think you could make up the voice. You might be able to find someone that looks like him, but that voice is very, very unique. But anyway, he was here. He's gone. It's over. I guess if you spent your money, probably most of you, if you had that kind of money, you probably didn't really care that much to think about what you were spending it on. And if it was actually going for the intended purpose, you just wanted to be able to say, oh, I went to Andrea Bocelli concert at Pedro Castle, under the moonlight, under the stars. Anthony says, I think it's a tax loophole, or it circumvents certain regulations. That's interesting. But then if you're wiring the money into a bank account in the US, they can't avoid taxes. But trying to hold it as a nonprofit, I see what you're saying, Anthony. Trying to hold it as a fundraiser for nonprofit and having it go into the nonprofit account. I wonder if that's even legal. Is that legal in the US? To have money go into a nonprofit that then is moved into something that's going to be used for a profitable venture? So Uncle Sam, y'all listening to this? SEC, somebody might want to look into this whole thing, because now that you've mentioned that, I kind of do have even more questions. I mean, if I cared about Uncle Sam. Very interesting. Anyway, that is somebody else's job, I'm afraid. Way above my pay scale. Mr. Goodlook says, does this fall under the lead of tourism? I don't know if tourism, we can certainly ask the question if they comp them the venue or exactly how that happened. Like I said, I saw people who obviously didn't pay for their tickets, who were there, who were like, "Oh, this is so great," and praising, "Oh, thank you, Linda." And I'm like, "Did you get a free ticket?" Because you're just not asking the right questions. So, how many people were there? No clue, no idea, Jonathan. I saw a few pictures. I was like, "Yeah, whatever." Gabby says, "Don't trust these registered companies. Majority of the time, they just be mailboxes and have phone numbers that no one ever answers. I wouldn't be surprised the amount of them that is behind organized crime and terrorism." Oh, Jonathan, thank you. He says, "I was referring to your toll-free number at the time." Oh, yes. Still waiting. All right. Good morning, Anna. Alejandro says they're inventing amazing devices and computers unless it's a traditional design strategy that's being used, like some Italian brands love the manual process for designing better for the buck. Rachel says normally charities must use donations for the public good, and the board and trustees must not profit from the charity. And charities should not be fundraising for profitable business ventures. That's the thing. Like I said, the whole thing makes zero sense. Karen's like, "Can we just move on from this?" No, but listen, these are some legitimate questions. And if you don't ask these questions, at some point you'll be having this happening every single weekend. Somebody taking advantage of a potential loophole or just ignoring it completely. But Rachel, I do agree with you. In that, again, I've never heard of a especially when they themselves are profiting from it. Like they would be the ones who'd benefit from the research and development. If it was like a third party, maybe. Weird. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program. Hello.
Sandra.
Hey. Did your phone die last time? I wasn't sure what happened.
I don't know what happened, but I have credit. You just called me. I'm in bed watching you, and my phone didn't ring, so
gosh,
that's the problem with flow.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, to cut the story short, what I was getting at, my kids purchased tickets, and they said, "Well, Daddy, we got a chance to win $20,000, right?" Last night in the bar, I overheard some guys saying that the raffle did not happen as yet. So my point is, I mean, these little kids spend their $25 because they like me, like to gamble. Anyway, how that's a government lottery the same way, right? How are they? I see where they're planning to legalize the lottery in Cayman. If they can't run a $2,000 ticket lottery, how are they going to run a lottery? That's all I have to say about it.
All right.
Take care.
Thank you too. Thank you so much. Good morning, good sir. You're on air live with the people of the Cayman Islands.
Hey.
Yes.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, I just got a minister, just to let you know why I messaged you. I just got a caller, and you and I spoke on Friday, but I just got a caller on the show saying that their kids had bought some of these tickets for the agriculture show, and they said, I saw you there, and they were asking because they were at the bar last night, and they're told that the raffle still hasn't happened. Can you provide us with any sort of an update and reasoning as to why the people haven't heard anything about this raffle and what's going on with it? Because there is like $20,000 cash, right?
Yes, good. Sandy, thank you for the question. And as I did speak to you last week on it, to let you know, I've just spoken with my team this morning, and we are going to set the time for Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. to do the raffle in the government building. It will be televised live, and you will be getting an invitation very shortly for you to be here to televise it also on CMR.
Okay,
and
wonderful.
we'll actually have we're trying to see if we can get maybe the governor to pull some of the raffle tickets, and maybe other the civil servants around here.
Wonderful. Appreciate it.
It will be live,
Wednesday
televised
morning.
live, and it will happen at 10 a.m. on Wednesday morning. That's what we're pushing for right now. what happened was that, from my understanding, is that there was 2 books that didn't get turned in on time. So that was what they were holding, and they were just doing off the final count to make sure that everything was done, completed.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Thank you, my dear.
Mhm.
Appreciate
Okay,
it. Thank you.
no problem.
All right, folks. You
Take
heard
care.
it
You all have a
directly.
wonderful day.
Thanks. You too. You guys heard it directly this morning from the minister himself. So hopefully, if all goes well, Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock. And I know the caller hung up kind of quickly, but what I was going to say to the caller is that I actually had gotten another call on Friday about this, late Friday morning. And so I reached out to the minister, and he did say the exact same thing, that apparently there were some books that were outstanding. Now, when you run things like this, you got to have all books accounted for, whether a book was sold from that, whether tickets were sold from that book or not, it still has to be in and accounted for. And when you don't do things the proper way, even with NPOs, so-called NPOs, whatever, people question, and they're less likely to support you if you're not doing it on the up and up where everything is completely transparent. So they're waiting for all the books to come in. I understand that actually somebody who had a book traveled overseas, and so they were not able to get access to the book. Now listen, y'all get these books. I think these are people who are part of the Agriculture Association who puts on the agriculture show in conjunction with the Department of Agriculture. Can y'all please think about these things? You're traveling around that time. Hand in your book before you go anywhere. Why are you holding everybody up for? Why are you making people look at the whole process suspiciously? Like, why haven't they had a drawing yet? Just hand in your book. Y'all make everybody look bad when you do these kind of amateurish things. What a mess. So hopefully on Wednesday, we'll update you guys if it's going to happen. Obviously, if it's 10 o'clock in the morning, we're live on radio. So we'll pull in the live feed and have it right here. So Alejandro says they're only holding these events here to evade taxes. Well, one thing rich people know how to do is not pay their fair share of taxes. I can tell you that. Sandra says our government is overeducated to determine certain factors. Say, what? Think my brain might have to go into overtime trying to figure that one out. Someone on WhatsApp is saying Cayman gets looped into money laundering for things like this. Hello. One of the reasons why we can't get off of that FACTA list. So when y'all sit back and say, I don't care about what these nonprofits are doing, what these rich people are doing, y'all better care, because it impacts our financial services, what we sit back and allow to happen within our borders. Because FACTA, them boys looking for any reason to constantly hold us down. Now, we need to have a conversation about what's going on with FACTA, and I'm trying to find the appropriate expert to bring on the show. Somebody who has financial services background, who actually knows what they're talking about. So give me some time to, try to arrange that show for you. This person is also saying that this is reputational damage for Cayman, because Cayman is the one who gets the bad press from money laundering and so on for this type of activity. So that y'all better care what's happening. Morning, Strong Will. Strong Will says every year it's the same thing. You never heard anything about this raffle bunch of cracks. Lord have mercy. Alejandro says, I care, boy, because they can cut down our mangroves for cheap. Okay. Not sure there's a direct correlation there, but all right. Okay, let's move on, folks. We'll keep you guys abreast of the FACTA discussion, which I hope we can do relatively soon. All right, let's talk about what I know a lot of you guys are here for this morning. Need I say it? Missing man, missing boater, Mr. Douglas Omar Hurlson. All right. Well, y'all want me to talk about the elephant in the room? because I know y'all been whispering in my ear and been messaging me all weekend about this situation, but nobody is going to get on the radio and publicly say what is on their minds but me. And I feel like I need a bathroom break this morning. I've been drinking so much water, more than usual. In the show, you notice I haven't touched my tea yet, but I've been drinking a lot of water. Particularly thirsty. I'm going to try to hold it a little bit longer, and then we'll take a little break. Here's the thing, folks. Sunday a week ago, Mr. Douglas Hurlston went out on a boat. Okay. And fishing boat, they say it's a 26 footer or 14 to 16 footer, something or another. There was discrepancies there. His family claims that he checked in with CBC to say he was leaving the Cayman waters into international waters. I can tell you, I feel confident in saying that that's not true. He didn't tell no official sources. And you're supposed to tell people when you leave, when you're actually planning going into another country, because you know they need to clear you and check you, and then the other country needs to know you're coming, and they're going to check you and stuff as well. When you don't do any of those things, you raise suspicions about what it is that you're doing out there. So here's what the streets have been saying about this situation. First of all, the good news is he's safe and sound in Belize. Yes. We're actually waiting to speak to the Belize authorities. We're trying to get an official response. In fact, let me see here now. If we can't, let me see if we can't speak to someone from Belize. Okay. We sent them messages, but let's try calling them this morning. Hold on.
Hi, good morning. This is Miss Jones speaking.
Hi, good morning, Miss Jones. This is Sandra Hill. I'm calling from the Cayman Islands with Cayman Mall Road. We're part of the local media here. We're wondering when we might be able to get some information on a missing boater that was found in Belize over the weekend.
Yes, ma'am. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get all the accurate information, and then I'll email it to you. I have your number.
Oh, yes.
So we just wanted to, all offices just open at 0800 hours. So technically everybody's working on it so far.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so maybe later on today.
As soon as they, so at least give us at least another hour and or less, and you should get all the information that you need.
Okay, thank you so much. I'll keep an eye on the email.
Yes, ma'am. You're welcome.
Okay, have a good day.
Okay.
Okay, bye-bye. Easy peasy, just like pie. All right, so we're going to wait on unofficial information. This is what we know unofficially. There are a lot of questions surrounding his departure, what he was doing out on the high seas, and somebody says she's very professional. Yes, honey child, some of y'all agents here could learn a thing or two how to answer phone properly. There's a lot of questions. Unofficial sources have shared with CMR that there is no coincidence that we had a number of Cuban nationals leave the Cayman Islands at the same time as Mr. Hurlston, end up on Swan Island at the same time as Mr. Hurlston, and were taken by another vessel, the Mary, what is it called? The Mary Jean or Mary J or something? Hold on, Brenda J. What was the name of that second boat? Let me look it up real quick. Right? And the storyline is this. He took Cubans from Cayman. They made it to Swan Island. Then he was running out of gas, right? There's a boater there in Swan Island who said, hey, we can tow you to Honduras if you'd like to go. And he said, no, he's good. Just give him some gas. And he took some gas and was trying to return. His vessel is all we need is love. And he was trying to return to the Cayman Islands. Now, again, the streets are saying that 3 of the 16 Cubans decided to stay with him for whatever reason. They did not want to go on to Banaka. Some people say it's Guanaja, Banaka, whatever you want to call it, same place. They're in Honduras. And so he left with 3 Cubans, and then they went missing afterwards. So he ended up in Belize. Now we're going to wait to see what the Belizean government says is their official position. But unofficially, sources connected to the Coast Guard in Belize said that he wasn't rescued, but he checked into a port in Placencia, and he was unable to reach his family until earlier today, which would have been yesterday. And, that he is indeed safe and sound. So a lot of questions were like, safe and sound, what's going on here? Everyone seems to believe that this young man is in the human smuggling business. Okay. This is interesting, and I'm going to tell you why. We have talked about before on this program the fact that I personally believe that there is a degree of human smuggling that is happening around these Cuban nationals who come to the Cayman Islands, and in fact, those who leave as well. I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again very, very loudly. Remember when those were coming into the BRAC and they were coming in crisp and clean and don't look like they had a day's worth of sunburn on them? Nice shoes and outfits and whatever. And I said, hold on a second. These are not people who are on this little dinghy boat that they arrived in, right? I said, no. Somebody is bringing them into or very close to Cayman waters, putting in them in their little boat and pushing them in those last 12 miles to claim that they've been out at sea for days. Capiche? They were too fresh. Freshly showered, smelling nice with cologne and all kind of stuff. Like they had just packed their little bags out of their little house, their little bodegas or whatever there in Cuba. I'm like, something not adding up, man. And I know y'all thought I was crazy at the time. Now people are saying, the streets are saying, that the going price is all $2,000, $2,500 a head to get them from here into other jurisdictions where they can hurry up and get across that Mexican border and try to get into the United States of America. Well, I guess nobody in Cuba decided to make the announcement of what Biden did last week. Y'all not getting into his country so easily right now. He's curtailing it after hundreds of thousands of people did that last year. He's saying, hold on a second now. You're not going to get political asylum quite so easily anymore in the United States of America. Especially those of you who are coming across the Mexican border. Man is closing that loophole. He's tightening the noose. Now, who can blame them? Because Cuba is incapable. And listen, I feel sorry for the Cuban people, without a doubt. I understand their plight. However, Jamaica has closed the loophole. You're not coming through their country anymore. Jamaica said, no, we're sick and tired of this. Right? Now you're going to require a visa. We're no longer going to be a transport point. The level of desperation, unfortunately, is growing in significant numbers. The Biden administration is going to start denying asylum to migrants who show up at the U.S. border without first seeking protection in a country that they pass through. And you see, this is why Jamaica is saying, we don't play with y'all no more. Because you're not passing through this country, right? Because listen, it makes good sense, and it's the exact same thing that it's the exact same thing that the UK has said as well. If you can pass through 3-4 other countries, and you are really in look of political asylum, why didn't you ask for political asylum the first country that you came to? If you're actually a political refugee, that would make too much sense, right? If you're leaving Cuba because you're fearful of whatever they claim politically, which, in 99% of cases is a big lie. They're just running from economic tough times. The first country you get to where you would not be prosecuted or persecuted, you would drop to your knees and say, hallelujah, Kingston. We're here. Show us some brotherly love. We're going to apply for political asylum in Kingston. But no, they're not doing that because they don't want to stay in Kingston. Right? They're trying to get elsewhere. Now they do it to Cayman because we've been making it a little bit too easy for them to get political asylum, quite frankly. So they are applying here because we put everything in a silver platter and give them. Now that noose is tightening as well. I'll admit that the Holy Grail still remains America because most of them have family members there and they want to be with their family members and so on. Yeah. So they want to get to the United States if they can. If not, well, they'll take Cayman. But when policies start to change, right? Because you go through Nicaragua. Why aren't you getting political asylum in Nicaragua? Nicaragua is a friendly country. So much so that Nicaragua is part of the problem because they removed the visa requirement for Cubans, knowing full well the impact that it would have on the U.S. and other jurisdictions, but primarily the United States of America. Right? Now they don't have to go through the Darien Straits to get into Mexico. Nicaragua has removed that. So Nicaragua and the Nicaraguan government is part of the problem. But why aren't they staying in Nicaragua? So this is what the U.S. position is now. If you can travel through 2, 3, 1 other countries to get here, because that's the only way that they're actually getting to Mexico. Cubans aren't born in Mexico, okay? That's the memo. Then we are going to deny you political asylum on the basis that you had an option of applying somewhere else. Now, Jamaica's thinking about this going, that's interesting, because guess what? We don't want them applying for political asylum in our country. So, nope, that ain't going to work for us. We're going to now require a visa. I told y'all last week that you have to be very, very careful, even from our perspective, of how we could potentially get caught up in this whole situation. So if we're allowing people to use Cayman or Cayman Airways to go through different countries, although it might be legal, because it was legal for us to take them to Jamaica and so on, but then everybody knew, including the Jamaican authorities, what they were doing from there. So the Jamaican authorities have every right to protect their own borders from abuse and misuse. Because the problem is, if they don't step up to the plate and they don't do so, right? Jamaica is going to get pulled in and flagged, and you guys are encouraging human trafficking and this, that, and the next thing. So Cayman government authorities and others, there is a very strong suspicion that this young man was involved in the trafficking of these people. And there are people who are saying it's not the first time. Might be the first time that he's gone missing, and so now it's all over the news. But they all need to look into his activities. If there's even a remote possibility that that is true, and I'm not saying that it's true because a complete investigation has now got to be carried out. But if that is true, we need to talk to those Cubans in Honduras and find out, how did they get to Honduras? What boat did they take? They need to talk now. They need to speak up, folks. Here's a picture of some of them. Yes. We should have photographs of all of the Cubans that were in Cayman. Are we using face recognition software, CBC? I'm just asking, what software do we have available that now we can send to the Honduras officials to match and make sure? Do we have fingerprints? Do we have DNA evidence? What is it exactly that we're collecting from the Cuban nationals when they come into our jurisdiction and we're processing them, taking pictures of identifying tattoos, et cetera, et cetera. Because if these are the same Cubans, that were in the Cayman Islands, you have got to ask yourself, how did they get there? And without a doubt, they got there some kind of way by boat. They never just left there on their own accord. They didn't swim to Honduras. That much we know. This is quite a serious international situation that we could have on our hands. Now, Mr. Douglas Hurlston is as a Honduran national. I don't know if he has Cayman status yet or not. So you never bought it all of a sudden like, oh, remember his brother was involved in this kidnapping plot and da-da-da. Well, I don't want to judge the man based on who his family is, although the people in the street will tend to do that. This is the boat, the Brenda J, that eventually took them in from Swan Island to Honduras, to Guanaja. Like I said, lots of questions to be asked. How did this happen? Now, poor Douglas, I mean, his family was obviously very, very worried about him. They're celebrating that he's been found and he's safe. I'm wondering, when is he returning to the Cayman Islands? I'm sure they're going to have a celebratory party here for him. And this one brother said, what a shame that after 3 days that my brother left Swan Island, like 12 p.m. on Tuesday, the 21st of February, and the authorities have done absolutely nothing to start a maritime or air search. I'm pretty sure he's talking about the authorities in Honduras, because it wouldn't be the Cayman authorities. That's outside of our jurisdiction, so we wouldn't be getting involved in that. If it was a family member of a politician, I guarantee you something would have been done. God first, stay safe and healthy. Now, I don't know which country he's actually referring to here or which authorities, but I want to make it very, very clear. In the Cayman Islands, the position is, listen, we don't have anything to do. We're carrying out search in Honduras territories. Swan Island is considered part of Honduras, is it? So, you know, yeah, that ain't got nothing to do with us. So Swan Island, 1.4 kilometers, Sand Barrier Island, with Duck Island and the Edwards Point, blah, 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 blah. No, that's a different Swan Island. That's not the right Swan Island. That's the one out by Australia. Where's this one? Swan Island, Honduras. It's also referred to as Isla Santanilla or Islas de Cisne. Initially named Islas de las Pozas. Well, how many names? By Christopher Columbus. A chain of 3 islands. Oh, so it's Swan Islands with an S. Okay. Located in Northwest Caribbean Sea, approximately 153 kilometers off of the coastline of Honduras. Land area of 3.1 square kilometers or 1.2 square miles. So very, very small. You know, you stop there basically en route to Honduras. Why he didn't take help from allegedly the boat that was there that, you know, said that they could, I'm going to show you guys in the map where it is, that said that they could tow him in, is also part of what makes this mystery even more interesting. Because people are like, if you were in a dire situation, there's Swan Island right there, from the people of Honduras. Someone said the Honduran military actually stationed on Swan Island as well. So if you're right there, see, there's Georgetown, Grand Cayman. There's the Cayman Trench. So it's almost like on the other side of the Cayman Trench. Yes, looks like. So if you're there, you're kind of, that's like the halfway point almost, right? Between Honduras, like Islas de la Bahia. You could kind of get to the coast there. That's the Bay Islands. So you're not that far. It's almost like you're halfway between the Bay Islands and Cayman when you're on Swan Island. So technically, you know, he could have just gone straight there. But why would you turn down someone said, okay, you don't have enough gas, your boat, you know, we don't think you're going to make it wherever the heck you're going. Let us tow you. We'll make sure you get safely to the Bay Islands. Why would you turn that down? So the word on the street on the Mall Road is he took the gas, although it wasn't enough gas. And they say the Swan Islands is 123 miles from Banaka. That's still a good little ways if you don't have enough gas, honey child. And so he took the gas. They offered to tow him, but he refused and instead took the gas from them. And they said, you know, you couldn't, this isn't enough gas. So supposedly some Cubans got off and about 3 remained with him on the boat. Again, we're waiting on the Belizean authorities to confirm who was found on the boat, et cetera, because I think we need to know. It's a very unusual situation. Now, is there an offense, a criminal offense of taking people outside of the jurisdiction without the relevant documentation and paperwork to do so? You better believe it. That would be a criminal offense, folks. So we will definitely be keeping an eye on this situation. Mm-hmm. Yes, honey child. This is an interesting one. You got to be careful because I tell you what, you could find yourself behind bars in a hurry for this sort of activity. Anyway, I think it's fair to say that the Cayman authorities are investigating what happened. Are these our Cubans that have now left? Who are they? Where do they come from? So you look at, for example, he was in Belize. So he was found in Belize and says that he couldn't contact his family. Now, I don't know, because remember now, the unconfirmed word from our Belizean sources is he wasn't rescued. So he wasn't, not like he was stuck out at sea. He was actually at the port of Plancia. Where is that in Belize? Let me see. Okay. So he's at this port and he couldn't reach anybody in Cayman. So this is, it has 2 marinas, a docks and berthing facility for pleasure boats and yachts. This is all in Belize. And so I'm a little bit confused as to why he wasn't able to reach any family. Now listen, the world is big, but the world is small. Okay? What I mean by that? Anywhere in the world, as long as you can remember somebody's phone number. And hello, Belize, we got a lot of Belizeans here in Cayman. The connection is strong. Maybe not quite as strong as Honduras. But, you know, there's a port authority there in Belize when you go into these ports. Oh, I'm going to show you guys a little picture of their port authority. Oh, this is so cute. It's like a little house. But all you have to do is show up and say, hey, my name is so-and-so. And, you know, I'm from the Cayman Islands. I need you to contact the Cayman authorities who can then contact my family to let them know that I'm perfectly fine. I'm not really sure how difficult it would have been for the connection to be made. So why are they saying that he couldn't get in contact with his family? I don't really know. So this is a port there in Belize. Yes. And this is their little port authority office. Wow. That's like a throwback moment, huh? So, I mean, but still, they got phones, don't they? Weird. I'm telling y'all, something don't add up. Let's see what your thoughts are. Let me see who's here with me this morning. All right. Alejandro says like the Mexican coyotes. And Dean says it's a money thing to get these Cubans out of Cayman so that these 3 Cubans want a piece of the pie. Well, I don't know why the 3 Cubans stayed with him. I don't know if that was like a safety thing, or maybe they were, because, in the world of smuggling, you have the coyotes are the people who are like, they're in charge of getting people back and forth. So they're not necessarily going anywhere. So maybe that's why those 3 were coming back, because they were the overseers. I don't really know. I'm trying to understand how this works. Strong Will says that's how the guns and cocaine came in our island. See, not only in Jamaica, you all need to open your eyes. Oh, well, I don't think everybody has ever said it's only Jamaica. I think the majority, and I do mean in the 90-something percentile, of the drug boats that we know for sure coming into this jurisdiction are coming, the Jamaican canoe boats. However, this is why countries need you to declare. When you're going and you're coming, they need to know. And when someone doesn't make a declaration that they're leaving or they're coming in, that alone is a red flag, because that's not normal behavior. Capiche? ¿Entiendes? That's a problema. Trust me. A big one too. Why wouldn't you declare? Because then you're subject to search and seizure, depending on what's on your boat. All these fishing boats, and there's a lot of fishing boats that go between Cayman and Honduras, right? They tell the authorities when they're coming in. And the authorities are looking in the very belly of the fish. They're scanning everything because, of course, Strong Will, anybody, well, not anybody, but any crook out there that, wants to make an illegal dollar, they know that the smuggling of people, drugs, and guns, there's money to be had in all of those things. So CBC and the authorities are always digging up in these boats, whether it's the big expensive yachts or the little fishing boats. They need to look at everything, because there's always that possibility. Sandra says these Caymanians that are involved in these trafficking businesses should be charged for treason, betraying their country. Well, to be honest now, he's from Honduras. Like I said, I don't know if he has status yet or not, but once a Honduran, always a Honduran. Trust me. So I don't know that treason should be the charge, but human smuggling is an equally serious offense as far as I'm concerned. So K4345 says that him and his brother have always been involved in bad dealings with money. Douglas rented a home years ago and then stopped paying rent a month after the owner was off island. And Dean says, I doubt that they're going to talk. Brenda says the question is, how many of them are partaking in this human trafficking? Well, I don't know. Jonathan says loose lips sink ships. 936 Bobo is the telephone number. So let me throw this question out to you all now. How many of you believe that there is some degree of human trafficking as it relates to these Cuban nationals, whether it's coming into Cayman or leaving the jurisdiction?
Blessing on your life.
So how many of you believe that that's the case? This person says if it turns out he's smuggling Cubans, then he needs to be charged as soon as he arrives back in Cayman, then if convicted, deported. This viewer to the program says Swan Islands was once considered a part of the British Caribbean islands. It, and along with the other Bay Islands of Honduras, was given to Honduras around the 1800s. My apologies. This is a reason for so many Caymanian-related families there in the Bay Islands. Thank you for that. Yes, sir. Other person says, There's an underground ring in the high seas for Cubans. Prices are what I'm hearing too. Honduran military are stationed on Swan Island. It's like a military base, and they needed to get back here undetected. So apparently that is indeed, you know, the that is indeed the thinking, is that he didn't want to be told to Honduras because he wanted to come back to Cayman as quickly as possible. So this person says, talk about trusting people with your children. This is an innocent newborn and certified caretaker, nurse, whatever you want to call her. If that was my child, what they would most likely be calling is a hearse for her. Oh Lord, she sent me a video here. I'll have to watch that later. Apparently a nurse in New York. There's a nurse captured on camera allegedly slamming newborn into bassinet, fired from Long Island Hospital. Oh my God. I'll watch that later. Oh, my brain can't even process that now. Somebody said that they heard the price was $1,000 per head. Somebody says that's if he returns. At this point, he might go straight to Honduras. What a mess. All right. I tell you, I don't know. Y'all are awfully silent in this one. Y'all been messaging me left, right, and center, but I don't hear nobody calling in. Caymanians. When y'all need to be speaking up, y'all are silent. Do you believe that there's human trafficking happening? And that's how some of these Cubans are both coming and leaving the Cayman Islands? Completely undetected, because when they leave, our government has no clue. Meanwhile, our government is paying for them, right? Giving them food and all sorts of stuff. And they're just leaving. By the way, I need to fact check this, but let's take this caller. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program. Hello?
Hello?
Hi.
Yeah, Miss Sonia, I believe that there's human trafficking on this island in all different ways, because human trafficking comes in by invitation as well. Yeah, so it doesn't necessarily mean that you come on a plane and you is okay. You could come on a plane for a little 2-week vacation and you decide that you like it here.
Okay. All right.
So it doesn't necessarily always have to be on a boat. But the boat part is a really bad way of doing it, because like you said, there's charges for that. Like the Mexican coyotes, when they go in and call those people wetbacks, they got assistance to make sure that they clear. And those people are the ones that have the connections in the borders, and they know who is at the duty at whatever time. If they don't want to pay, they can go right ahead, and they get killed if they don't make it.
All right, my dear. Thank you.
That's the family's responsibility.
Yeah, for sure. Right. All right, appreciate it. So that caller believes that there's human smuggling. Anybody else? 936 Bobo is the telephone number. Oh, somebody's calling this number now. That's the wrong number, though. Good morning, caller. Are you trying to call the show?
Hello, morning.
Hi.
Yeah, I'm the guy from that video there. Why is it not down as yet?
Which video, sir?
The lady said she called you about it. The one that I was standing in the yard calling to get someone to...
A lady called me about it? I haven't spoken to any lady.
Pardon me?
I haven't spoken to any lady.
Well, I don't know. The lady about that video that's up.
Okay. Oh, you were the trespasser, and you're saying that you weren't actually trespassing. Well, sir, let me be very, very clear. The video was supplied by the property owner. The property owner says that there's no vehicles there for sale or any other reason.
Yeah, and I talked to her up to this morning. I talked to her.
Well, that's not who. There's no her involved. The person that we spoke to is a young man. So I'm not really sure who you're speaking with. But let me put it this way, right?
Yeah.
The owner of the property sent us the video. Said this person is trespassing on my property, and I'm not comfortable with them trespassing on my property. After you called on Saturday We went back to them through our connection and said, he's claiming that there's some vehicle on the property for sale. And the person said that is unequivocally not true. There's no for sale sign and there's no vehicle there. And so the video remains up. That's why the video is still up.
There is two CRV at the front of the yard.
And they both have for sale signs on them?
They don't have for sale sign on them, but I was just checking to see if they're selling them or what.
Well, this is what the man said. He said there's no for sale sign. There's nothing for sale. So he feels like you were trespassing on his property. When you're on somebody else's property, you don't get to say video footage is captured of you on somebody else's property. You don't get to dictate whether or not they send that to CMR and if it stays up on CMR. That's not how that works. Yes? Because you're a trespasser.
But I was there, so why they didn't answer the intercom?
All right, I can't answer that. I mean, but you don't have an invitation to be there. There was no, you just admitted that there's no, you told me on Saturday that there was a for sale sign. Now you're saying that there's no for sale sign because the guy said there's no for sale sign and any vehicles there.
No, there is not a for sale sign on it, but I was just checking if they were selling them or what.
Okay. Well.
Yeah, because it was me and one of my brethren go there because him say I look on CRV. I'm say, you know, I believe me the pass CRV around this up and him sorry then he might carry me around and we show him and him say, all right then. Check if nobody at all did or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because he wants something on the engine or something
right.
on it.
Well, here's something. I'm glad you called in because I think the next topic we're going to be talking about some other video that was posted over the weekend on CMR, right? When we post video on CMR, again, especially when it comes from the owners of homes or businesses or whatever, we then have a right, once the video is in our possession, to decide whether or not it comes down or not. So I don't know why you keep calling me, because if I tell you it's not coming down, it simply isn't coming down, sir. And with all due respect, it is what it is. And I would suggest you just move on.
Well, I don't know, because I even talked to the lady this morning and she said she called.
Well, she don't have no control over CMR. I don't know who she is. Like I said, I haven't spoken to no lady. But I also am simply telling you that she doesn't have any control over that. She doesn't run CMR. So I can't help her. All right.
Okay.
All right, love. Have a good day.
Yeah.
All right, there. Bye-bye. I don't know why y'all think that y'all running the show over Yasso. Good morning, caller.
Morning.
You know, I got to set them straight sometimes, child. Honey, child, they think that they can tell me what to do. I'm like, not really.
I don't think the school teacher could tell you what to do. And that didn't matter months ago. But listen here, my government, I do believe, is in control. My government, I do believe, have a mandate to control all borders, to know everything going on. And I do believe if my government sends a signal, whether it's a loud signal or just a little shh, that they don't know nothing, they don't know nothing. And usually that's the position they don't know. I don't think they know much that's going on. And I don't think they cares about what's going on. As long as the going on is going on and it don't look, it looked today just like how it looked yesterday, I think they're cool with that. Until the United States starts saying, well, where you get the major amount of your food and your house appliances and your medicines from? Over here. Okay. Because, you know, they'll do it, right? Raise that over. They'll do it. And you see, Charleston in Cayman, I think that's more a Cayman Rock hookup. And they don't sound like regular Spanish names to me. So it might just be that the person with the last name Charleston got a little trace back DNA to Cayman. So that might be the hookup. But, you know, and I don't call you an ordinary person. I think you're what you call an influencer in today's language. You can talk that you blue in the face and until the Cayman Islands is smacked up against some wall and falling down and tore down the bricks and everything with our faces, the government don't really care. They got like they got another cocktail party to go to and another high-powered person that call them on their the phones that do get answered.
Mm-hmm.
And they go into this rubber chicken cocktail because I don't think they treat them to any $2,000 bottle of wine and and steak and all that kind of stuff. They don't really give a damn. And the payday for them probably comes earlier than the payday for niggas like myself.
Child, unfortunately, some of our people are so gullible. And my aunt always used to have a little saying about how people who never expected to get anywhere in life, when they finally reach and they get a little position, it goes to their head.
Okay, man. Don't make the rest of the public know they already call us crabs in the bar. That's because we brought that to their attention. Don't bring that the rest out now.
I'm just saying,
we know that.
Yes.
Okay, let me tell you what they call it. Old data flow rag, no turntable cloth.
My dear, and it's still a dirty floor ride, not true? Right. And the worst part is most of them don't even know how to act accordingly.
That's what I'm saying. Just by their behavior.
You're trying to hold position with the court, the royal court, and you're nowhere near royalty because you don't even know basic etiquette and how to carry yourself and how to behave.
Well, don't tell me you're telling me something now, or what?
Speaking of you, I was trying to call you this weekend and you wasn't answering your phone. Imagine if I'd show up to your house unannounced, banging on your door. Listen, after the show, you and I need to talk about something. So make sure you answer your phone when I call you.
Yes. Thank you very much.
All right, my dear.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay. So, listen, folks, to that gentleman, I feel sorry for him. I feel sorry for you. But the video is not coming down. Let me talk about, so y'all can be very aware. Wayne says he needs a CMR mug. I'm going to tell you about the mugs here in just a second. But let me be very, very crystal clear here this morning. Because, I don't like to mince my words in any way, shape, or form. I always want to try to communicate as honestly and as clearly as possible. And I feel like once the lines of communication are open, we shouldn't have no problems. Because you're going to know what my policy is and you're going to know how I'm flexing with you and vice versa. Yes? Okay. So here's the thing. Nobody controls CMR content. Not your mama, not a politician, nobody, right? The courts have on one or two occasions, and then when we win those cases, we put the content right back up, AKA John Felder. And we know how to slice it in more than one way. So if we made an honest mistake in the wording of the initial story, we can fix that. We can correct it. We can reword it. But the facts will remain the same. Your behind is going to be exposed in the very same way. Now, some of y'all don't quite get it, and you keep calling me, asking me for a favor about not putting stuff out. And I would caution you to not waste your time. If your time is valuable to you, and it may not be, that could be part of the problem, do not pick up the phone and call me as that man did this morning, because you are simply wasting time. He called me on Saturday, my apologies, and said, there was a for sale sign on the property, blah, blah, blah. We went back to the property owner, and I'm going to show y'all what we're talking about here. Let me get the videos sorted out here this morning. The property owner said that's a lie. There is nothing for sale on the property. So I'm like, okay, so he claiming car for sale and car not for sale. Well, why didn't they answer the income? Sir, without an invitation on somebody's property, you are a trespasser. You can't just trespass on people's property talking about they must answer the phone. What kind of faciness you going on with you? Come on now. Don't be stupid, because I'm going to have to school you properly. Okay? You were there without invitation, no lawful right to be there. You did not see a for sale sign, but you told me that on Saturday, huh? And so when I ask about the so-called for sale sign, the man saying not enough for sale, but you see, this is what y'all like to do. You like to call and hoodwink. Hold on, let me get these videos ready. You like to call and hoodwink these poor sappy Caymanians. Oh, something was put up on the website and this and that. Have Sandy take it down, and y'all so fool. Oh yeah, Sandy, you can take that down now for me. Because the person came and gave me the money, or the person did this and that. I don't care what the outcome was. There is good reason why we keep it up. Because sometimes these very people are people that other people need to be keeping an eye out for. Y'all understanding what I'm saying? It is not coming down. So we had 2 videos over the weekend that captured y'all attention, and I was getting phone call and messages about taking it down. The policy is very clear. Okay? It's not coming down. Here's the first one. This is the man who just called. What he calling me for? Here he is. I don't know where these cars are, but why you all the way over here in the yard looking at the jet skis for? Are the jet skis supposedly for sale? I mean, you're walking around. You're looking a little too suspicious, sir. I don't know where the cars were. It looks like what happened is he noticed the cameras over there so away from the house, because the house looks like it's still under some sort of construction. And then all of a sudden now he's like, ooh, cameras. Let me say hello to the cameras and pretend like I'm calling up for somebody. I don't know. But you were not there by invitation. You made the homeowners very uncomfortable being there, right? And what we do see here is not no Hondas. We see some wave runners. That is what we see. Okay? So step away from the people, them wave runners. Come out of them yard and turn on your own damn yard. You can't be trespassing on other people's property. If you had seen a for sale sign, I don't know why you're assuming just because somebody has some SUVs there that they're for sale, but had you seen a for sale sign, you would have walked up to the vehicle, taken down the number that would have been on the for sale sign and walked about your business. So someone says, look at the left side of the wave runners. The cars are located to the right side of the property. All right, let me see here now. You mean all the way back looks like it's behind the house? I'm going to try and enlarge it, honey child, because I can't really see too good there. Let me look at the original picture that was sent. But these people said, listen, a property owner said, I don't want you on my property. What are you doing on my property? So if you're not invited, you're not invited. Let me see here now. Oh, I see those all the way in the bush, like all the way in the back. So what are you doing all the way over here, so? Yeah, I see the cars all the way in the back there. I'm still a little bit confused about what made you walk over by the wave runners. I'm just saying. Let me look at the footage again. I don't hear you calling out to nobody. I hear breeze. Your mouth not moving. You're just looking up at the camera and then you walk off. So at what point did you call and say hello? Anybody here? Anybody? Hello? I'm looking to buy a car. Are you here? No, you look at the cameras, look suspiciously, and then walk off and go on about your business. That's not how you call for somebody if you're trying to get somebody's attention on camera. Some of white people never answer the camera. You faced it. Like when I go to get some of your mangoes off your tree, I'm going to be like, hello, I'm here with my mango picker. Can I please get some mangoes? Anybody home? You open your big mouth the same way you can call me now on the phone. Okay? Since Saturday, you've been trying to blow up my phone. Open your mouth the same way and say, hello, are you there? I'm inquiring about your car. Okay, nobody's here. I'm going to leave my number and name on a piece of paper on the windshield of the car. Are these for sale? Please call Sandy. Call 911, 411, 936, 2626, something. That's all I'm saying. None of that happened. So it makes me suspicious. Okay. I have a right to be suspicious because some of y'all just be acting suspicious. All right. Hello, Siobhan. She's here in the house now. She said, I missed a lot this morning, girl. Hit the rewind button after the show. Alejandro says he's playing it off when he noticed a camera, so just an act. Siobhan says, I believe he wanted to steal them. What you mean? Why he looking? Jonathan says, he just trying to cover up his lie. I'm just saying, none of his behavior makes his story believable. Now he's found the owner, some woman, I guess is the young man's mother, and he trying to strong will her into, I was just there. Tell Miss Sandy, take the video down. Well, she don't have no control over Miss Sandy. Sorry for you. Wayne says, Siobhan, the man in the video of the wave runners called and Sandy had heat hot up, child. He must be crazy. Poor him. You guys have got to respect people's property and their boundaries and stuff like that, okay? It's not for you to be going stealing from their fruit trees, looking at their wave runners a little bit too hard. Okay. Taking down their mangoes, even to me be asking and begging for a few mangoes. All right. Poor Wayne here, talking about he dying. Moya says, so how he reached so far in the back of the property of the people yard to see their vehicles in the backyard. This is trespass. Child, please. No, sir. Here you go, sit down. That's okay, Siobhan. Better late than never. All right, let's move on to the next video that had y'all hot under the collars. This is picking up women urinating in a public place. Now, this is just disgusting. And I must tell you that I have actually highlighted this before on the CMR platform because I think some of y'all are just nasty. You don't have no brought up, see? Your parents never told you. Listen, I think that we've all been in a situation where you've really had to go to the bathroom and you've had to maybe go in a public place, but geez, peace. Do y'all not know how to do it with a degree of decorum? There's a difference between urinating on someone's, like, in their corridor, behind the stairwell, as opposed to actually going out in the bushes. Y'all would have been better off just going in the bushes. Okay? That is not somebody's property, but I guess that time of night, y'all think something that grab you behind or your posts if you go and urinate in the bushes. Y'all shouldn't be doing it. And there's two different videos here, and I feel like there's two different angles to this that is worth discussing. So number one was taken after 9 o'clock. There's no excuse for that one because the gas station's still open. Y'all complaining that Cotton Club only has one what's it called? One stall for women and one for men. Go the gas station right there. There's no place else in that building that has a proper bathroom. This is why the planning department now, they need to do better. How can you approve a facility like Cotton Club where on any given night you probably got 400 or 500 people packed up in there like sardines? But you only allow them to have one stall per male, per female? Well, listen to me. When I gotta go, I gotta go. Y'all saw me up in the Miami International Airport a couple of months ago, honey child. I had to go. And the line in the women's bathroom stall was out the door and around the corner. So I said, I don't see anybody over in the men's. So guess what? I'm going in the men's. And I knocked first. Hello, any man in here, please cover it up. I mean, I want to see none of that. But I really have to use the bathroom. There was nobody in there. Completely empty. And they have private stalls. They had more than one, honey chill. And so I went in there, made it very, very quick. Whew, child, that was the quickest my bladder ever been unloaded. And then I went about my own business, washed my hands, because y'all nasty, don't want to wash your hands. And as I was coming out, I remember seeing Rex from the gym. He's like, what are you doing coming out of that bathroom? I said, listen, don't get no ideas, This not a switcheroo business. Sandy, all of a sudden, a he, she, it, they, them, confused. No. I just had to use the bathroom. And I did knock and had to look to make sure nobody was in there first. Child, after I did it, some of the other women were like, why am I standing here making my bladder burst? I need to go and do the same thing that she just did. The men's bathroom's empty. Now this lot, look at them. She talking to man, but she look like she really want to go. Drinking that beverage. She can't hold it no more. There she goes. In that corner. Lord Jesus. No, sir. And then here's another one. These are two separate videos, by the way. This is another one. Her little friend was on the lookout for her. Poor thing. Is that a tissue that she just left on the ground too? What was that? Oh my God. I did not just see what I thought I saw. Hold on. That came from her? That don't look like that was there before. So it switches. These are two separate videos. I'm not sure I want to think too hard about that.
I know, never again, Tamara, never again.
And look how she's wiping off her feet. She couldn't even use the bathroom without sprinkling her own feet. And then she just litters and throws the nasty tissue on the ground. Now, you know these women not write it in their head, right? I mean, honest to God. I don't know what it is about this corner of, this reminds me of what dogs do, right? Have you ever had a dog? If you've had a dog, you know how they love to mark territory. My little Coco used to do this all the time. The funny thing about her, she wasn't even peeing. She's just lifting her leg and not even doing anything. I'm like, girl, stop lifting your leg. You are embarrassing me here today. Put your leg down. But she used to, outside when she smelled another dog, she needed remark. This is what this is, I guess. This is their little marking corner, honey child, where they all go in the same corner and just remarking it. I mean, what on earth? Well, the building patrons and owners are sick and tired of it. And they sent the video and they said, Sandy, please tell these people they're acting. This is what they said. This is so disgusting. Cave women and cave men still exist, and peeing in business establishments during business hours at 9 p.m. is completely an eccentric, ill-minded, sick individual with mental diarrhea. Oh, Lord Jesus. Upstairs, most of the barbershops and salons were open, including the Cotton Club. Anyone could just use the Cotton Club privy. Imagine if any of us urinate in their backyard or business establishment. Would that be okay? Lord Jesus. I don't know. I do have a problem with it. Back in February 2019, I posted a picture of a guy, bus driver no less, stopped on the side of the road to use the bathroom right by the primary school, Prospect Primary. And I'm like, why? You know, children in the middle of the day outside, they could be seeing you pulling your little willy out. Please don't do this. This is not nice. Nobody wants to see this. Well, apparently when I brought it up then, y'all were like, oh, Sandy, you're being a prude. You're too prudish. Oh my God. Can you please lower your standards? And I said, what? I must lower my standards? Hold on, I can show you another video from December of 2019 as well. I must lower my standards because y'all are nasty? I don't think so. No and no. Aunt Lottie never taught me to be no fool and to lower my standards for other people. Under no circumstances. I'm like, why must I lower my standards? I'm not understanding. Come again? That's the problem now. Y'all lowering your standards too much. You're accepting everything in this country. Any kind of thing goes. Don't make no difference. And now y'all wondering what happening. Why are we going to hell in a handbasket? No, sir. Let me show y'all this one because this one was quite shocking. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull this one over. Yeah, so because again, this was December of 2019 and y'all were claiming that I was being too harsh. Oh no, Sandy. Oh my gosh, don't mention it. Oh, you're just too, we can't take it. I was like, really? I am not lowering my standards for the likes of y'all. Y'all need to do better. All right, have a look at this video. I'm gonna show y'all this one. I can't download it for some reason. I don't know why, but anyway. Let me see if I can show it to you nonetheless. This one was right by the airport, you know. Like 5 o'clock traffic kind of thing. Yeah. Hold on now. Let me show you, because y'all ain't gonna believe me. Here, this one. Let me see now. Oh, yes, here we go. Look at this. 2 guys. Look there. Right by the airport fence. The fence should be electrified. Bet y'all then you wouldn't do it. Public buses, people driving by. As you can see, it's bumper to bumper traffic, which means it's probably 5 o'clock in the evening. And then right across the street is a gas station where you could have gone to the gas station. No, y'all got to stand up there and urinate in public. It's not a good look. Right across from Jose's Esso, or whatever it's being called these days. Right? This is the behavior that y'all are trying to tell me that I mustn't say nothing about because this behavior is acceptable. I was like, wow, y'all gotta be crazy. So again, those of you who felt a way about it then and felt I was being too harsh, quite frankly, I don't care. I'm not being too harsh. We can't encourage this type of behavior. This is disgusting for more reasons than one. I notice construction workers like to do it a lot, as though they can't find a proper party place to go. I was like, really? Ugh, y'all need to do better. No, honey child. I mean, not putting up with that kind of nastiness. So the gentleman felt away that you guys were urinating on his property, and he sent the video. He has a right to do so. It is open to the public, but it's still private property. And there are rules, and as far as I know, public urination is against the law anyway. There are rules that are meant to govern your behavior. And if you cannot follow those rules and somebody catches you on tape doing something you're not supposed to be doing, and they send it to CMR and we post it, save yourself the energy of typing me a message. Save yourself the energy involved in trying to pick up the phone and call me about the video, because it's simply not coming down. Capiche? All right. I hope y'all get it. Jim says classless. That's for sure. My God. I don't know what to say about y'all. And then you're like, oh, I'm in my work uniform. You should have thought about that beforehand. How much do you actually care about your job? In fact, this has gotten so ridiculous that in January 24th of 2021, somebody sent a message, letter to the editors, public urination now okay in the Cayman Islands. In case y'all missed it, I'm going to share this one with you. And this again was someone who, this looks like it is at, where is this one? Cayman Bay. Cayman Bay, a family-friendly environment, right? With children everywhere. Here's the link for this one. And this person just gets up, and as many restaurants and so forth in Cayman Bay, public bathrooms, they have, listen, this is just when people are nasty and they don't have no, oh my God, y'all just nasty. There's no excuse for this. There is a restaurant. Every single restaurant there has restrooms. There are public restrooms there as well. There's a cinema, for God's sake, that has how many restrooms available? And this is what y'all do, knowing full well that there are children there that could potentially see your disgusting behavior. You get caught doing this kind of foolishness. I do not feel sorry for you in any way, shape, or form. Look at this. Look at it. That's him urinating right in the bushes. Patrons all over the place. And then go about touching people, food and hands, and handing money to the wait staff with your nasty, disgusting hands. Y'all, please try to do better. Anyway, as them old folks say, you make your bed hard, guess what? You got to lie down right in it, and CMR is not going to remove it. Now you're suffering from public embarrassment. Oh, I was in my work shirt. I could lose my job. Well, you should have thought about that beforehand. That's really not my business. Good luck to you, honey child. All right. Sue says not at all. Siobhan says some people act like dogs because they got a you know what. Heard this from a male friend that I had to put in his place, also telling him that's just straight nasty. Well, obviously the women were doing it there too. So I don't know. I don't know anybody who any better. Alejandro says, yeah, we men supposed to have strong bladders, but it's proven that alcohol gives you weak bladder. You have to know from IPHD. What the heck is IPHD? Dr. Alejandro, that you got a problem. First symptoms, you pee anywhere. Well, listen, I don't know what alcohol does to you, but if it does that to you, folks, you plan accordingly. Okay. You make your bathroom stops like you need to. RD Limited says these bus drivers are always doing that. Common practice. They don't even go in the bush for everyone to see. Classless people. Wow. Ms. Moya says men doing it at the side of the road is for everyone to see. It's so nasty. It's a sign of low society standards. Real bush people. You don't even see European people or British people come Cayman and peeing on the side of the road. Mr. Amelia says, say it, honey chow. And Dean says, that in Jamaica, if you were caught urinating in public, you'd be charged. They need to do that here. Even men just pull out their you-know-what and piss everywhere. Well, it is against the law. And I mean, we have to act accordingly. Siobhan says she's probably drunk, but still nasty. Michelle's like, wow. Michelle can't even believe it. She's like, wow, what the heck is this? Was that a wet wipe? Like, I wasn't quite sure what that was. So she's walking with the wet wipe, so couldn't find a bathroom? Michelle, and she's not good at aiming because apparently she got it all over her own feet. Ugh, I can't even talk about that anymore. Nasty. Anyway, do better, folks. Just do better. That's all I can say. Dawn says some places don't want you to use their restroom if you don't buy from there at that time. Well, I don't know about that because sometimes I go to a gas station. I just got to stop because I can't hold anymore because I really don't like gas room bathrooms because they don't tend to be the cleanest. But when you got to go, honey child, that or the bushes, I'd rather go beg. And even in the States, I've gone to a gas station before and I was like, oh my God, I got to really, really be going. Last time I did my mother-daughter trip in December, I really had to go and I had to pull my daughter out of the car because, there's not Cayman now, I can't be like, okay, I'm going to run in real quick. You stay in the car. I'm keeping an eye on you. Oh, no, honey child. I would come back. She would be gone along with the car. So I was like, Gigi, come on out. You got to go with me. And she's like, oh, and I was like, yep, you got to stand here because mama got business to take care of. And you just turn around in the corner. You don't need to be looking. But I just asked for the bathroom key. And a lot of them have a key access because they don't want people going in there doing drugs and whatever. So you can't just go in like how you used to. But Janet says also the gas stations are fine, but some restaurants won't let you in. Wow. Well, I don't think that was the issue at Cayman Bay, to be honest, because they do have public restrooms as well. And he was at a bar. He was sitting there at Carew having drinks. I'm sure Carew would have allowed him to use the bathroom. Good grief. My goodness. Some people just nasty. All right. So did y'all see this poor lady in Florida? Poor thing, 85 years old. Gloria Surge. A 10-foot alligator attacked her and her dog. The poor dog got away, but she was not so fortunate. Poor Miss Gloria got eaten or dragged into the water by this alligator. And it's so crazy because you saw the waves in the water when the alligator was coming. Listen to me. I feel so sorry for her and her family. She just never saw it. And even if she saw it, I'm not sure that she could have outrun this alligator. From when he had his eyes on her and you see him swimming with purpose, It was either her or the dog. And the poor little dog barely got away. And I don't know if the dog ran off the leash or exactly what happened, but instead he grabbed her and dragged her into the pond. And this was at a retirement home in Fort Pierce, Florida. The only question I had is, this is a pond, and I know, of course, alligators can walk, I guess, from one pond to the next. I don't know how long this alligator was in there, but did no one at the retirement home know that this alligator was there? Because the thing was like 600 to 700 pounds. They had to get it and put it down. Oh my gosh. This is the kind of thing that in a retirement home, you make sure the ponds are clear of alligators. I smell a lawsuit coming, honey child. I'm just saying. Yeah, Siobhan. Siobhan says, oh gosh, that's sad. It is very sad. She can't outrun an alligator. Alligators are very fast. Child, they can, you see them little legs that they got? Don't you worry. They swim fast. They're powerful creatures. And believe me, from the second this alligator had intentions towards her, there was nothing that she could do. She was a goner. My God. So unbelievable. I can't even believe it. I'm just shocked at the whole thing. Poor thing. So somebody called 911. One of the neighbors pleading for help says there's a woman in the water. The alligator got her. Please hurry. It's a huge gator. It's huge. This was a quote from them. I don't have anything to give to her. Well, they can't help. Once the alligator grab you in the water, honey child, you can't go in the water like that with the alligator. Sadly, her body was later retrieved from the retention pond while her dog survived. And wildlife experts went out, located the alligator, submerged in the pond, hauled it out of the water with one official sitting on top of the alligator, and they put the alligator down. Pretty sad. Wayne said she knew what she was doing. What do you mean? Why was she out there walking dog at 85? No, what do you mean, Wayne? That's good. At 85 years old, she's taking a nice stroll with her dog. If she has a dog, somebody has to walk the dog. There are a lot of 85 years old people that live by themselves. She's in a retirement community. She obviously was still capable of getting up and walking. So, I mean, this was not the first time that he attacked. This was not suicide. Y'all crazy. Stop. Leave the old lady alone. Well, if this was not the first time that he attacked, this retirement home is going to get sued because they should have removed the alligator from then. If he tried to attack somebody before, he probably not getting enough food in that pond, you see? 600 pounds, he's got to eat a lot of fish. And I don't know how much fish is in the pond, but they should have done something about it. Just so incredibly sad. But I don't think this is this woman's fault in any way, shape, or form. I think that this is just an unfortunate situation. All right, folks. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the show. Appreciate it. Mugs are coming. Y'all saw me post up that I did a small order of mugs, a very small order, but I do need to properly order some merchandise. So give me some time because there's not enough in that small order. Some of you said that you're going overseas. You can get one because you're not going to be here, but everybody else just hold on. We'll get a big order coming. Jim says people are just commenting such foolishness for sure. All right. Thank you guys again for tuning into the program. So tomorrow, I'm sure that our friends from Health City will be here for medical rundown Tuesdays. And then, of course, we need to talk about this situation with Dr. Lee because it's a very interesting legal point. Doctors Express trying to sue the government. Again, I'll be watching this case ever so closely. You guys have a fantastic day.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels and visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.